Ho, 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 said Santa when he was in the Christmas mood. But we're not in Christmas mood anymore because it's the Packers and they flamed out. Just like we thought they would kind of been. I mean, most of us on the last show didn't think much of the Packers, but they had much of a chance against the Eagles. But they did have some chance because the defense was there. And they got screwed jobbed on some calls. I mean, no doubt of those things. Those things did happen. Would they still have won? I don't know. Maybe. But Raider Ric's here, so that's all that matters. Because once the season's over and everything's flamed out and you're all disappointed, you got to have good friends and good beers.
And who knows disappointment more than a Raider fan?
Oh.
You got Tom Brady now.
But you unloaded Davante, so that helps, right? This year, that's a plus.
That is a plus.
Brock Bowers is stud.
Brock Bowers.
Smart investing is to buy low and sell high. And the Raiders bought really high and sold pretty low.
I will say this. I've never seen a team draft a tight end in the first round one year and then a tight end in the first round the next year.
Myers was second round. Come on.
Oh, was he? Oh, okay. Yeah, he was like
high second round. High second round. But Bowers was a maniac. Look at him. I had him on my fantasy team. He was like one of my best players. Didn't he set the record for Raiders receptions in a season?
He set the record for tight end rookies receptions in it. He beat Mike Ditka, who had the record for 5,000 years.
Holy crap. So there's your bright spot, Bowers. Bowers and Tom Brady.
If Tom Brady was throwing the ball, we might have more wins.
Probably. Yeah, my guy Gardner didn't help you. But
that was a disappointment. I was hoping Gardner would have brought a little more, wild man streak to the team, but instead it was just kind of a toss-up with him and Bad Mustache O'Connell.
Yeah, they both lost the power of the stash. Did not come through this year for the Raiders. That's sad.
To be fair, they were both running for their life a lot. The offensive line left something to be desired. But there are a few holes to fill. So nowhere to go but up.
That's true. Do they need a new head coach and a new general manager? Oh yeah, how about if they take ours? You want them? You could have LaFleur and Goody. We'll trade you LaFleur and Goody for Max Crosby.
Remember teams used to do that. They would trade their coaches and their managers and stuff.
Yeah.
It's happening.
You know what? Here's the trade, Rick. We talked about it yesterday on the text, but we trade Rashawn Gary.
Ooh. Wait a minute.
Kenny Clark, Jair Alexander, Matt LaFleur, Brian Gutekunst. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
To the Raiders. We trade Jordan Love to the Chargers. No, we trade Jordan Love to the Raiders too.
Yeah.
All that goes to the Raiders. The Raiders, all they have to do is give us Max Crosby. Wow. That's it. And then they got to give O'Connell to the Chargers. Okay.
And then sign some guys for negative salary cap.
And then the Chargers give us Justin Herbert. But the Chargers also get Romeo Doubs from us because they need a receiver who can catch once in a while, even though he's got head problems. And Josh Jacobs, because we don't want him anymore.
What?
We should get into that, by the way. Then we signed back Aaron Jones. We signed back Rasul Douglas. And we signed back, who's the other guy I said? Oh, yeah, Lukey Patrick.
Yeah,
and then we win the Super Bowl.
He's done.
Yeah, you guys got to take Abdullah and Madison and some of these other making cast-offs.
Listen here.
You get all those great players. Kenny Clark is a freaking.
That's three. Now that's three Pro Bowlers. You're giving them three Pro Bowlers, Ben.
Oh, yeah.
Jair, Kenny Clark.
Jordan Love was the Pro Bowler last year, wasn't he?
No.
Everybody talks like he was a great $55 million a year.
Yeah, but I don't think he was
third in line. I mean, it's like bowling a turkey.
You would give him three in a row. Kenny Clark, Jair Alexander, Rashawn Gary. That's three Pro Bowl players. How could the Packers part with those guys?
And the Packers get Max Crosby and Justin Herbert.
I don't know if I'm sold on Justin Herbert.
I'm not either, but here's the thing.
He's a talented dude, but I don't know that he can play quarterback the way the Packers
do. A bargain in comparison.
He's better than Jordan Love. I can tell you that.
I want Baker. Love. I want Baker.
Baker lost.
I don't
Same
care.
as-
Baker
same
made
as-
that crazy ass run when his team was doing nothing.
Listen, did you watch
Slammed
the
into
Chargers
Bobby
this year?
Wagner, ran his ass over. I was like, "Hold, give me that
That was
guy as my
crazy.
quarterback."
That was awesome. Don't get me wrong. Did you watch the Chargers? This
Damn.
year? His
No,
best receiver is a 5'9" white guy.
I know you had what
That-
almost 200 yards.
Everybody else, nobody can catch a freaking pass.
I know.
I mean,
I know.
it's ridiculous. He's got
I
nowhere
know.
to go with the ball. You think Jordan Love's got nowhere to go ball? Watch the Chargers play. And then he only
Yeah,
throws the ball like 20 times because Jim Harbaugh runs it 17,000 times.
Yeah.
So that's why Josh Jacobs is perfect for Jim Harbaugh. We'll give Josh Jacobs to the Chargers, Jordan Love to the Raiders, Justin Herbert to us, Max Crosby to us, Kenny Clark, Rashawn Gary, Jair Alexander, all of the Raiders, Romeo Dobbs
Right.
to the Chargers, Aiden O'Connell to the Chargers. It's a three-way team trade. Packers get the two best players, Max Crosby and Justin Herbert. I think it sounds like a genius move.
Rick is into it. He thinks his Raiders might go for it.
And they also get, like I said, the Raiders also get a new head coach and a new general manager in the trade. Boom. Just like that.
I don't think you could even pull it off in Madden. I think the system would reject that.
Hey, if you turn off the whatever, the thing that actually regulates it, you can do anything on Madden. Trust me.
What is that? Common sense.
I once traded Brett Favre for, I can't even remember who, Matt Hasselbeck. I traded Brett Favre for Matt Hasselbeck one time straight up, and it was easy. So
That's pretty fair. Right?
well, it's more than fair. I mean,
Yeah.
Matt Hasselbeck's much better than Brett Favre, but that's besides the point. We're not going to talk about that. Got to get into this Packers stuff now.
Okay, Packers stuff. Sorry, we gave Rick a hard enough time. Rick,
much Rick. This is a
Rumors
Packers
of
show.
Arvante wanting back.
Yeah, Rick
Nah,
wants. Yeah, we'll get into that. Adams and Adams.
Mhm.
Okay, so Packer fans, I know that we had a couple here hanging on, but probably not too many yet. But if you have thoughts about this last
Yes.
game, what are your thoughts? There's been a lot of negativity, Ben, from
Questions and
Packer
comments.
fans. There's a
Let's hear
lot of negativity from Packer fans. They're upset.
There
They're
should be.
letting these guys have it. They're talking trash about this coach and this GM and this quarterback and this cornerback that never plays and this Pro Bowl end who is kind of slow but a good dude. And this Kenny Clark just had his best season, and he didn't make the Pro Bowl this year, but he just had his best season by my
Kenny Clark had his
estimation.
best season.
That's the most I've ever seen him pursue and get in.
Kenny Clark had his best
I'm gonna-
season.
I'm gonna look up his stats. I'm gonna look up his stats one point in this show, and I'm gonna check it out. I think this was Kenny Clark's best season in all the years I've watched him.
Kenny Clark had his best season.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what I think.
At least in the last 4 or 5 years.
Kenny Clark had his best season.
That's his best season. Best. Kenneth Clark. And you have trashed the man.
Let's
He's
Share
not
the
still not that
screen.
impactful, but I think it's his best. What is this? What is this? What is this?
share the screen.
Okay, screen's up.
This is Kenny Clark's season.
Okay, okay,
The green is what he got paid.
okay. Yep.
That's his pay. The blue is his estimated value. And Kenny Clark worth 13 million in week 14. I highly
didn't
doubt that.
I didn't say he made his contract. I just said that
okay.
this was his best year.
I just thought that, I just wanted to show that real quick. His value compared to his plays. There's a big difference.
Well,
But
the Packers
who am I
don't.
to-
Rick, we said this recently. I don't know what your thoughts were, but the Packers don't really pay guys on their production, right? They don't.
That's
They
right.
apparently don't. They don't care if you produce. They'll pay you if they think you might one day be a superstar, but they don't. The guys that produce, they're like, take a cheap
Or-
contract or you're out of here.
Or if you were drafted like a superstar,
Yeah.
or the fans like you, and you can keep convincing them that you're a superstar. But you were saying, fans are unhappy. I think they should be, right? Like the Packers keep spinning this story that Jordan Love is the next in line. It's the third one, the heir apparent. Okay, cool. Like whatever, maybe the team is seeing something behind the scenes that you and I and everybody else isn't seeing in the game, right? That they think he's really worth top dollar. But as a fan, they're getting fleeced, right? Where's that money going? What are you getting? What are you getting for your money? Okay. And it's excuses, right? I know we're in the Midwest. I know people are very loyal Packer fans and they love their team and they're going to support them no matter what. It's not New York. It's not Philadelphia. And they're going to love their Packers and trust the team. But really, this is what you want? You're happy with this? Okay, stop making excuses for this kid. Maybe he'll be great. But right now, he's not. Yes, it's his second year as a full-time starter, but it's not his second year in the league. How much adjustment do you need to the speed of the NFL game, right? Like, he's been practicing with pros for more than 2 years. He's been in this offense for more than 2 years. Granted, there was the AR factor with some of the offense, but still, like, this isn't like you just threw him into the big leagues and now he has to figure it out. What was the point of keeping him there and grooming him and training him and letting him be Rodgers' understudy for his whole first contract, right? Where's your return on that? But it's easy just to let that narrative spin and go with it because then the front office isn't getting second guessed for that. So fans should be unhappy. There should be accountability. There should be calling out this team for not getting guys who can play, not getting guys who can perform, for just protecting these guys who don't show up. We're collecting a paycheck and not doing anything. Jair. Guys who probably should have been off the team because they go out and almost screw up a coin toss. They're not supposed to be out there. Jair. Right? Fans should be unhappy. That's all I got.
Yeah. Yeah. What more can I mean, there's no much more else we can say. And I think you need to play. Can you play that clip, Jace? Can we get going right away on the Jordan Love stuff?
Hang on, I'm loading something else up that ties right into Rick, but I gotta get.
Okay, well,
then I'll go back on the Jordan Love stuff. No, I know, but here.
Okay, well, I can talk. John asked a question here: how many current Packers would start on the '96 Super Bowl team or the 2010 Super Bowl team?
Yeah,
this team is devoid of talent and stars.
What?
Always had his chance. Talent. And he could take LaFleur and Love with him. That's what I said, John. If you were here earlier in the show, there's the goal right there, Jason. Showing it.
I like it.
Yeah, none of them could start. I don't think there's a single player on this team that would start. Maybe Josh Jacobs might start on the 2010 team over James Starks. That might be it.
James Starks was pretty good, but yeah,
he was good, but he came from out of nowhere. He was a no-namer
pick from Buffalo.
What about Slayton?
TJ Slayton, he wouldn't start over BJ Raji or Santana Dotson or any of those guys. Slayton's good, but he's the best guy we have on the D line at this point. But he can't compare to the D lines from, Howard Green and BJ Raji. No, he can't. He couldn't start with those guys.
TJ's pretty good.
Yeah, but he's not that good.
He's not paid like he's good, but he's pretty good. Was he like 3 million last year, 3.5 million or something?
I don't know. So
you're gonna get a lot more than that next year. Probably go to the Vikings like Mo wants. He'd be in purple next year. I don't know, but all we heard from all these guys how talented this Packers roster is. They have a lot of talent. They're so young.
That's it. They're so young, Jace. They're so young.
Rick, they're so young. What did you do when you were young?
Probably was held accountable for my performance. Right? How long are they going to be young? Right? They're young. Their whole first
one more year, I think, and then after one more year, then they're no longer young because then they'll be, because next year will be the fourth year and the third year of the two Goody drafts where he drafted like 5,000 players in those two drafts, the 13 and the 15 players or whatever it was, back-to-back seasons of the draft where he drafted all these guys who make up the core of this team, right? And that's, I don't know. All I know is this: the defense.
Those guys could start.
Who's that?
John thinks Jacobs, X, and Cooper could start. That's it.
X couldn't start.
X couldn't start over.
X couldn't start on the 2010. He couldn't start. No. He couldn't start over Charlie Peppra. He couldn't start over Charlie Peppra in the Super Bowl either.
Not over the Peppra? Okay.
No, not over Nick Collins or Peppra. X is way overrated. Way overrated.
He's not much of a tackler. In this last game,
he gets
you had a tackle.
he's practically getting quarterback treatment by the fans and the Packers and the media.
He had all those picks.
Because he has a bunch of picks. Yep.
Bunch of picks.
That means he's good. Just like when linebackers have a bunch of tackles, that means they're good too, right? Or maybe it means that they tackled them 10 yards downfield because they weren't in the proper hole, and they had to chase them and tackle them later on. That's what it means.
AJ Hawk, all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers.
Trust me, X is not nearly worth the money he's in.
Timing is everything, though. You do it early on. That's your introduction to the fan base.
Yeah. I know. Zadarius Smith was so great.
And I like X, but what it showed to me was this last game, going against a physical team who's going to run the ball, you needed dudes who were going to tackle. Your safeties are normally unblocked on most of those plays. They got to trigger and tackle, and the corner's got to tackle too. And McKinney he's a weak tackler, and he showed it this whole game.
Well,
and that's a problem. Safeties need to tackle. I don't give a crap. That's like probably more important of your job is helping in the run game and tackling than almost anything else. Your range is also important, but damn, if you can't tackle as a safety, you're in trouble. Am I wrong?
I think it's surprising to me how much of an impact Evan Williams seems to have.
Yeah.
Because when he's in the game, the opposing team's passing offense disappears for the most part. And it's weird how one guy can come in and do that. But when he's not in the game, we can't stop the pass at all. And how does one guy who's a rookie playing deep safety affect it? When Xavier McKinney, who's a big-time stud muffin, people are passing all over us when he's out there. What is Evan Williams doing? I need to watch the film and figure it out.
Yeah.
But the difference between him being out there and him not being out there is like night and day based on what we've watched over the last couple of weeks playing against really good teams. Now, the Eagles are a more running team, yes. The receivers are so bored they're reading books on the sideline, yes. So, yes, all that is true. And Jalen Hurts is the weakest quarterback we've faced as far as arm talent probably in the last couple of weeks when we're playing. Well, that's not, I don't know, Caleb Williams? I don't know. Anyways, but I don't know. I think to be positive, we could say, hey, the defense, when we had the pieces out there for the most part, even with lackluster pass rush, did improve throughout the year. And apparently Jeff Hafley never got to play the defense he wanted to play. He adjusted because he couldn't get the pass rush with 4 guys. So he had to adjust, and they figured it all out. And, apparently, according to Matt LaFleur, Hafley didn't play the defense he wanted to play all year. Really? He had to adjust and figure it out. Wow. How come Matt LaFleur couldn't adjust and figure out the offense then? Hafley should be our head coach. I mean, he seems to be the smartest guy in the building. Like, I don't know. But, okay. Let's keep. I got videos I got to show so we can get that done with. Then we can talk. Because we're going to talk about things I'm going to have videos for, and then it's going to be dumb to go back and watch the video of something that you know what I mean? Like we should show the video and then talk about all the things.
Well, we got to get this before we move on to your next video we got to get this in because it ties back into what Rick was talking about.
Yeah, let's see it.
And it ties back into all kinds of stuff, and it's Matt LaFleur. And I was listening to, actually, you know what happened last night? So I was having a hard time going to sleep. So I put this on. And God damn it, Matt LaFleur did it again. Put me right to sleep after about 6 minutes into this thing. So I missed all this other stuff. I did not catch this until today. And here's Matt LaFleur, which I think was interesting. But this is what he said. Listen to this.
And I think, we won 11 games. I know it was good for third place in our division. It's one of those crazy years, man. I just think we have to be a little bit more consistent, and especially in those big time games. You can't turn the ball over. You got to find ways to move the ball. You got to maximize your opportunities. I mean, I think Brandon's been a great addition for us, and he misses a 38-yarder. Why did that happen? I don't know. I mean, it just happened. Unfortunately, it happened. But I got a lot of confidence in the guy, and he was a great addition to us and really helped us. So everybody has got to play their best, especially your best players got to play their best in the big games.
Yeah. He finally and here's the funny part is normally that's the closest thing we're going to get to him calling out guys. Like, he does not call. Okay, let me take that back. The closest thing we're going to get to him calling out the high-priced guys, because we're going to show some video in a little bit where he's calling out not high-priced guys, which is bullshit. But that's him finally calling out Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark, Jair Alexander, who's not even on the field, Jordan Love, Elton Jenkins, who, by the way, got his ass kicked on the freaking first play of the game, but nobody talks about that. And then Mark Tauscher's on the radio saying, boy, when Elton Jenkins got hurt, boy, we sucked. He better go in there and ask for more money. I'm like, are you kidding me? He got his ass kicked. I think he got hurt so that he wouldn't get his ass kicked the whole freaking game, because he would have looked just as bad. Also, on the film, when you watch it back, why is Josh Myers, when they bring in Glover off the bench, Josh Myers is on pass protection, is going and helping Sean Ryan and leaving Glover one-on-one? Well, no wonder why he had a couple holding calls and some other crap went wrong for him. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why would the center go and help the established guy in his third season who's been starting all year, who has 1,000 snaps during this season, or a guy who had played like 2 freaking snaps in garbage time all year? It doesn't make sense. When you watch the film back, Josh Myers literally on pass protection goes to the freaking right and helps with Sean Ryan's guy. Now, maybe that's Jalen Carter or somebody who's an insane monster, right? Who's like 360 pounds and faster than lightning, right? Okay, I get it. That guy's crazy fast and awesome. But
JJ's here. Hey, JJ.
I don't know. Like, what is going on? So you can't. I don't know. Whatever.
It's the same problem that we've seen over the whole LaFleur tenure. That's what they're doing. That's what the game plan was, I'm sure, is to help out him instead of Jenkins, because Jenkins is the best lineman ever.
Yeah, but once Jenkins is out, you change the plan.
But they don't. They don't adjust. It's just that's what he does. He goes right. They probably never even practiced it. There's just no adjustment, right?
Yeah, but then they call him out after the game. They call Glover out after the game. And they not only that, they take him out because he couldn't do it. And then they bring in Telford, who probably should have been brought in the first place. Like, why do they bring Glover in? Nobody knows. At least Telford's had a couple game time where he played a couple times.
Yeah, he's been on the team longer.
Neither of them are guards, by the way. They're both freaking tackles. So, you know.
It's a Swiss Army knife. You got to have all those guys Swiss Army knives.
Sure wish we had a Lukey Patrick coming off the bench who is a solid veteran who could come in and like hold down the fort and know what the hell's going on. Even if he does get blown up a couple times because he's not the athletic freak, but he's smart and can actually play. But we don't have that because Goody wants the freaking athletic freaks who don't know how to play football. That's the Goody draft. He drafts guys who are RAS score 10, football brain 0. And that's the problem. And it goes all the way from offensive line, at least his first and second round picks. Offensive line, defensive line. He drafts RAS score 10, football score 0. Every time. And then we get lucky because he gets Rasheed Walker and Zach Tom in the late rounds.
Yeah.
And a guy like Carl Brooks and a guy like TJ Slayton, who are afterthoughts, who are probably not even his choices, right? Those are probably the scouts who are found him and say, hey, you got to draft this guy. And if he's there in the 4th, 5th round, draft him because he's worth a second round pick. And Goody's like, oh, I don't think he is, but I'm okay, fine. If he's there in the 5th round, I will take him. If he's there in the 6th round, we'll take him. And then he takes them, and then they're good, right? But the guys Goody drafts in the first 2-3 rounds, at least on the D line and in the O line, are crap. I mean, Sean Ryan, it took him 3 years to finally show that he could do something. Jordan Morgan was the 8th tackle off the board when we could have had either DeJean or frickin' Mitchell, who both showed us in this game how good they are. And every fucking fan on the earth said, can we get a fucking corner with the 1st round pick? And we let the Eagles take both of them. And then it bit us in the ass in week 1. And it definitely bit us in the ass in the playoffs because Goody knows more than us. He took the best or the 8th best tackle instead of the best corner. And they let the Eagles get the 2 best corners in the draft. The Eagles, they got Jalen Carter. Like, they keep getting the best player in the draft. Nakobe Dean, yes, he was injured for a whole year, right? He's going to have a year where he sat on the bench. That was the year the Packers took Quay Walker. And Nakobe Dean was there. Now, he wouldn't have been able to play right away.
The Packers don't play those guys right away anyway.
Right, they don't play anyway.
That he played.
And now Nakobe Dean is a freaking all-star. Why? Because he was going to be in the first place, but they were from the same exact team. And he was the guy who made all the plays. Quay Walker didn't make all the plays for Georgia. Dean did. But we took the guy who didn't make the plays because he was healthy and he was more of an athletic freak. Like size and like weight. But anyways, I don't know.
Well, it's interesting talking about all this because once again the Packers are looking. I saw a thing just recently, right, that said needs for this upcoming draft: first round cornerback. How many times were we drafting corners in the? And you just talked about it last year. You could have drafted some, but they did the same thing with corners, right? They don't draft football players for corners. They draft the fastest guy on the board, or they draft some scrappy guy who, whatever, Jair and all this stuff. And it's like, these guys have to be complete corners if you're going to draft them in the first round, not just have a flash of something and have all these deficiencies like an Eric Stokes or like Jair. They got to be able to tackle. They got to be able to do all the stuff, and the Packers won't do it because what? This guy ran a little bit slower in the 40 than this other dude. It's just stupid. We need football players. Micah Hyde's RAS, his relative athletic score was like 4.63. He's a pretty damn good football player. It doesn't mean everything, but it's the Bible for Goody in his drafts. It's all about athletics and the athletic score. And then what does that translate to? It translates to not a hell of a lot of production on the field and guys that can't make an impact in the game. And that's what we keep seeing. And that's why the Packers aren't getting to where they can or where they could go, right? It's like we keep hearing about this team. They could be better. They're going to get to this place. Like Rick was saying before, oh man, a couple of years, wait till all this comes together and blah, blah. How many times you keep rehashing that same storyline? Because the stuff you put together isn't coming together, isn't fortifying in the image that you hoped for, because you're drafting on only prospects and you're not drafting football players. And this is football. And I don't know what you think, Rick, but we've talked about this too on the show many a times. You need 11. There's always 11 guys in the field, right? So you need you need 11 starters. You need, and even more than that, because they play a lot of nickel, and so you need extra cornerbacks who can be starters and all this sort of stuff. Linebackers that can be fast. But you need to be able to fill out a team with all talented guys. Not stack up at positions with your draft picks and then have holes where you're just grabbing some dude off the street and sticking him in the starting lineup because you didn't draft anybody there. But that's what the Packers do. That's best player available. How about the best player available for an open starting spot on your team?
Well, that's what the Lions did, and that's why they're the number one seed. They draft the best player in a spot that can start.
Go ahead, Rick.
Sort of like what the Raiders do, except they draft the fastest player available. We've joked about that for the last 40 years. And look where that's gotten them, right? I mean, it was really kind of a joke every year. I mean, I remember Mel Kiper Jr., who is never at a loss for words, but the year they took Hayward Bay back in, 2008 or whenever it was, and he was dumbfounded. He's like, well, he's really fast, right? I mean, that's what they do. That's all, especially when Al Davis was still around, that's all they did. And great. You got really fast receivers who can't catch the ball. You got a really fast running back who can't break a tackle. You got a big fast quarterback who can't throw the ball. And the years that they were actually good, it's when they hit on some of their draft picks and got kind of lucky and finding someone who was decent and then filling it in by bringing in mostly old guys or guys that were retread that still had a little bit left in them and were good enough to fill out that roster because it is an 11-man team. But recent years, when they've been dumb and traded away all their draft picks, there's no core there. You want to see a young team that doesn't have anything to build on. Look at Las Vegas right now, right? I mean, they were starved in the draft for a few years. They're complete rebuilding. Green Bay shouldn't be in that position. They've had draft picks. They got some young guys that have some potential, and they don't play them, or they don't play them correctly. It's like they get so married to these veterans they have and this homegrown talent that they're afraid to bring in these older guys, right? Like, find a reasonable vet that you get for a decent price. Bring him in. So what if it's for 2 years? But they just don't do it, right? Like, how do you round out a whole team when you just sit on these guys that you drafted and hope they're going to turn into something and hope they're going to turn into something? And Great. You have a hole. You have a need for something right now. Go do it. Fill it. Bring someone in for a year or two. And look what the Vikings have done with guys they brought in.
Yeah. And there's other dudes too we'll bring up. Ben, you got a video coming up you want to get at? What's your video about?
I need Matt LaFleur's sound
Oh,
first.
Matt LaFleur sound? Okay, we'll get back to Matt LaFleur. I just have a question. How in the hell did Zach Bond not even get a chance to start for the Saints?
I don't know.
Holy crap. That dude's a maniac. There's a lot of former Badgers in the NFL that are really pretty damn good. And Zach Bond is one of them. Yes, he interfered with my guy Bo Melton on that one touchdown or that one chuck up in the end zone, but
Yeah, well,
it was a crappy pass anyway. So
it's not only was it a crappy pass, it was a stupid decision.
yeah, really dumb.
And you might say, "Oh, Ben, it's at the end of the game." Blah blah blah. Well, I got the video for it, and then we'll see.
There was still 2 minutes left. It's not the end of the game. You didn't need to check that up in there. All right, Matt LaFleur. Here's what he had to say.
Matt LaFleur, what he has to say about the interceptions in the game. Let's hear his explanation for the interceptions.
All right.
Mindful of those and work on the areas that you have to improve upon in order to get over the hump or get past that point.
Yeah, I know it's more than the quarterback, but specifically on the turnovers.
Mindful of those.
Jordan went 7 straight games without an interception. What changed Sunday in Philly? Did they speed him up, or what do you see change with the picks?
Well, the pick that Slay had, that was a heck of a play. I think just you want to talk about the little details. I mean, we had an opportunity to stack them. And, yeah, the ball was a little inside. But we got to make sure that we stack in that situation. So I don't know if you guys saw the slow-mo. I mean, that was a great job by him grabbing his wrist, slingshotting himself, and he made a hell of a catch. The second pick, again, details. I mean, that route's got to be run at 20 yards. We're at 15 yards. That ball should never be in that far. So, like, I saw what Jordan saw. I mean, there's an open hole in the defense. But when you're not at the right route depth, bad things happen. So, and then the last one, I mean, I don't know what you guys thought. I mean, obviously it was a prayer. I mean, we're throwing one up. You got a bow on a linebacker, and was the ball underthrown? Yes, it was. Did he get contact before the ball was there? Yes, he did. Is what it is.
Okay.
Go back to that opening.
Okay. I'm going to show some video now, and we're gonna go over all the things he said, and we're going to show the truth, because I've had enough of Matt LaFleur.
Yeah.
I cannot be a fan of this guy.
Why run a route to 20 yards if he underthrows it when it's at 15?
That's the thing that's ridiculous. I don't his explanations for things, his ability to kiss ass, and I don't know what's going on here. Like, why is he doing this? So share the screen here, Jace.
Because Goody's going to be around for a while. He's got to protect Goody's assets.
Yeah. Let me know when you're sharing the screen.
It's up.
Okay, the first thing we're going to watch is Elton Jenkins, okay? Which I'd say it's just 2 plays.
Oof, he got his ass kicked in this game.
Let's watch Elton Jenkins, the first play of the game. Or maybe it's the third play of the game. I don't remember what it was exactly, but it's first drive anyways.
I like how when he was out of the game and they're like, our best offensive lineman. I'm like, no, that's Zach Tom, dude.
Oh, Zach Tom had a rough look at that.
Oh.
And Jordan Love gets away, screams out, runs out, gets crazy, chucks the ball. That was actually on a third down, now that I remember. And you might say, it looks like, oh, where the hell was he throwing it? Well, when you watch on the All-22 on the wide shot, which I don't have, it was Wicks was in a scramble drill, and he looked like he was going to start going deep, but he couldn't get past the corner, so then he cut it back in. But when Love threw it, it looked like Wicks was going to go deep. So that's why Love threw that deep. So I'm not blaming Love.
No,
he did a great job getting out of the pocket on that.
And he does. That's one thing he's really good at, is avoiding sacks and getting out of trouble. He does that pretty damn well.
Yeah. And the other thing I'll say about Love too is in this game, when he was throwing to the right, he was very accurate on the outs, 10-yard out, 5-yard out, 15-yard out, all those passes to the right, very accurate.
So when you need it, Ben, why is it a left? Yeah, on fourth down, why is it a throw to the left when he consistently has a problem throwing to the left? I don't get it.
I know. And I watched the O-line committee, which is a couple of former Vikings, and it's a really good YouTube channel. And they were talking about on Elton Jenkins on this play. And they said that this is the play he gets hurt on. Is like he should have came across and he should have been more violent. He should have been more like aggressive. And he was the one who got beat up because he wasn't working that hard. Like he's just kind of going across. He's moving, but like he's not looking to hit the guy. He's just looking to kind of get in the way. And the Eagles, the reason why we had so many injuries this game is because the Eagles just beat the snot out of us. You know? I mean, number 3, look at the size difference between
What
3
kind
and
of wussy
74.
hit was that?
He attacked the play. That guy attacked the play. And Elton Jenkins, pause it for a second here, because Rick can speak to this. Rick, I know it's a different level. It's the NFL versus high school, and we played and all that. But when you went on a trap block where you were coming from one side of the formation to the other side and you're going to kick out trap block, like your job was to not just get in the way, it was to like blow that dude out of the area so you create an opening off tackle, right?
Yeah,
That's
there's
the
no
point
opening.
of the trap block.
You have a full head of steam. It's like ramming speed, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes the guy doesn't even see you coming or is turning, right? Like you said, look at the size difference. It's like he runs up and it's like he's just going through passing drills in practice or something. Like,
And he got
why are you
hit
letting
on,
up?
Yeah, he got hit on the arm, but he shouldn't get hit on the arm. He should be putting his pads down. He's got to get lower. Look how low that defender is. That's
You
a
should
great
be
way to
knocking that
attack
guy
it.
back outside of those hash marks.
Right. This guy should be knocked out, and then Tucker Kraft hits 17,
Yep.
and then Jacobs should be coming right off Tucker Kraft's block
That's the
because
point of a
Elton
trap
Jenkins
block.
should have pushed this guy out.
Yep.
But instead, Elton Jenkins get rocked. Jacobs got nowhere to go, and he gets creamed. And then Jacobs just has to try to get a yard or two out on the play, right?
Is that dude like 230, 220 maybe?
I don't know. Smith Jr., number 3.
I'll look him up.
Look at his
I'll
skinny
look him up.
legs. Look how thin he is.
He just attacked the play. The Eagles are so physical in this game.
I don't even.
Mm.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The Eagles beat the crap out of us.
Well,
We played like a bunch of guys who were like, hey, what's up? Hey, how's it going? You guys have me ready for the offseason? And the Eagles were like, we're going to the Super Bowl. That was the difference in this game. And it started with our most veteran offensive player. If Elton Jenkins is wussing it out there, everybody else is going to be wussing it too.
if he wasn't standing up, he wouldn't have got hit in the gap of his shoulder with a helmet, and he wouldn't be hurt.
Yeah. All right. So this is one of the first passes that Love just, it was one of the ones that should have been picked off. And we're going to watch and see why. I don't know what he was looking at when he threw this ball. This is the second drive. Okay. So if you look here, you got Jaden Reed coming across the middle, and then you got, I think this is Wicks coming right behind him. And you got a 3 deep triangle coverage covering both of those guys with a linebacker in the middle. So there's like a diamond of guys covering here, right? But if you look at the very bottom of the screen here, you got Romeo Doubs one-on-one with the corner, and he's going to beat him. And with all this time here, so this is the play before, or this is after, this must be before the third down play, I think. And Jordan Love, like, when you see that this is like a safety here and a corner here, like there's no player to throw this ball. Like Jaden Reed's not going to be open. Maybe Wicks could be open if you throw to like the 25-yard line, right? Or 24-yard, like where, if you throw where Jaden Reed is right now, maybe Wicks comes there and catches it. Maybe that's what he's supposed to be doing. I don't know. But he airmails this,
back there.
and it gets thrown like way the hell. I don't know what he's doing, right? He airmails this like as if Wicks is like 7'6" is the only way he's going to catch this ball. But nobody was open. And then down here, of course, if you wanted to go deep and do some Brett Favre stuff, you know, give us a 95-yard touchdown. When was the last time we saw anybody do that for the Packers?
Yeah, it's been a while.
I mean, really, Reed might have had a better shot at that if it was higher.
Oh, yeah. Right. And now this is the, I think this is the Zach Bond interception. But we'll just watch it here real quick. And it might not be. It might. Oh, this is the first interception. Oh, yeah. This is the, okay. Okay, stop. You can't see what down this is. This is second down. I'll show you in a second. You'll see that it's second down. Look at the bottom of the screen, right below where everything is. We've got Brooks at 30. leading a Josh Jacobs swing pass with only a corner 27 over here, and maybe Zach Bond would come in. Can you imagine if he would have just dumped this off on second down with a lead blocker in front of Josh Jacobs? This would have been awesome. But Love wants to do the Aaron Rodgers and take the shot with Dontavian Wicks, who's not fast. Okay? Number one.
And he hasn't beat that guy.
No.
Like when he's throwing that,
he just decided to throw it.
Yeah.
And it's a great pick. But now here's the other thing. We're going to watch it from the other angle, and I'm going to talk to you guys, because what did Matt LaFleur say? He says, we got to stack over the top of the corner and blah, 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 and all this bullshit. Now, I can remember when Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback, and even this year, Aaron Rodgers talked about when Mike Williams had to run the red line, right? And you want to give your quarterback enough space on the sideline to throw over the top, right? Oh, and keep the corner on the inside of you and keep your route on the red line. So just a little bit with 4 or 5 yards of space between you and the sideline so that the quarterback can get the ball right in that spot, right? Let's see what he's doing. Look at this. Look at all this space. If this was Aaron Rodgers, that ball would be placed over here.
Yep.
Right? He's stacked. He is stacked. He's got the corner beat. If this ball is thrown out here, it's going to be pass interference or caught, right? If the ball's thrown to the proper spot. Love throws it way inside. And then LaFleur in the press conference blames the route. Look at how much space there is to throw this ball. That's a shitty fucking throw.
It shouldn't have even been the right option to throw to.
No, well, right. Number one, it was the wrong option based on the play.
Bad decision.
And the fact that it was second down.
Yep.
And then, but even then, he has plenty of room to throw this pass. And he throws it inside too far, right to the corner. And this is a slow receiver. It's not like he's trying to I don't know what he was doing. Did they practice all week? I don't know. Now here's the
painting a different picture in his press conference than his reality. Yeah.
Now here's the Zach Bond play. If you look at this play, Malik Heath, he blames Malik Heath, says it has to be a 20-yard route, right? They start here. A 20-yard route is going to be, I don't know, where the hell is that going to be? That's going to be at the 32-yard line. You think Malik Heath's going to run all the way down to the 30 or the 28-yard line and then do an in cut and Love's supposed to sit on his back foot and then throw that pass?
No.
This is stupid.
Well, why? You're throwing into double coverage back there. The safety's going to be sitting there waiting for it.
Right. Yeah.
Well, it's dumb. Right. All three of these guys are in the way. Whatever. I don't know what the play was supposed to be. Malik Heath did the right thing. He saw that the middle safety was deep. This guy was in his way, and he broke the route off at 15 yards or whatever he did. I don't know.
So the only way, I'll just say this, the only way you're going to have time on that to be a 20-yard route is if it's a play action play. And this was not a play action play.
Right. So
you have that's all you can expect for time. By the time the quarterback hits his back foot and is supposed to throw it, that's a depth your receivers can get.
And there's 10 yards space just between where Malik Heath is and even if Zach Baum was right in front of him. This ball is thrown late.
Also, before you go any further, Matt LaFleur, just recapping what he said. Yep. I saw what Jordan saw. There was a hole in the defense. Jordan did not throw the ball before Heath cut his route off. Look at this.
Yeah.
He cut his route off right there. That is a bullshit. That is rewriting history. That is, it's rewriting reality. It's a BS story to cover your quarterback's ass and your investment's ass because he still has the ball. The guy already cut it off. Throw it to the guy.
Look how late that pass was.
Yeah.
By the time he throws it, he almost throws it as if Malik Heath is supposed to just sit down.
Yeah.
Right. And run a curl or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's thrown way behind where Malik Heath is.
That's just.
Well, he's the wrong guy to be breaking back in anyway, right? Yeah. Why not have Kraft run all the way across the middle to clear up?
They're running to the same spot.
Get him out of the line of sight. Then have the middle guy do the curl.
These plays are not like someone brought it up before. Lee asked, do we use the middle of the field at all or much in this game? It looked a lot more like the Rodgers offense.
Now watch Love's head. He never once even looks over here. He stares it down the whole way. And Bond is just like, yep.
He just
And the other thing is this. Watch this. Watch where his head is looking when he throws this. I think he's trying to do a no-look pass. Look where his head is. Look where the stripe is when he throws it. The stripe's over there, and then he throws it back across his body toward the inside. I mean, that's dumb. It didn't matter what Malik Heath did on that play. That ball was thrown way underthrown. It was thrown just stupid.
Can you go back to that same angle?
Yeah.
Like, is that way behind where Malik was going to be anyway?
Well, yeah.
I mean, like, was he even throwing to him, or was he looking for Kraft?
I don't know what he was doing.
Like, Kraft fell down. Like, maybe it was supposed to be for Kraft.
You're right. I think it might have been for Kraft.
he wasn't looking at him. He was looking him off and then trying to throw back to
Right.
Tucker.
I think maybe he was looking at Malik Heath and then planning on throwing to Kraft, and maybe Kraft was supposed to be there.
Yeah, Kraft fell down.
Right.
Yeah,
And he never even looked over there to see what was going on. I don't know.
I had
But
to
Matt
go-
LaFleur's explanation is bullshit. That's all
Yeah.
I'm trying to point out to everybody.
100%. I had to go back and look at Zach Bond's stats. And if you look at what he didn't get hardly any opportunities to play defense with the Saints. So how the hell did the Eagles know? Like, it must have been, they must have scouted
They're
him.
not idiots.
They must have scouted him, wanted to draft him and couldn't get him. And we're like, holy crap, this guy's available. Let's get him and make him a starting linebacker. And damn, he's just
Now
performed.
This play is the play where Romeo Doubs gets hurt on. And it's the same thing as earlier. I want you to watch this.
Such a bad
Right.
decision.
What?
Why? Jacobs is just
Jacobs
get it
is
over
here.
to him.
There's-
Nobody around.
There's Romeo Doubs is taking this inside corner with him. There's an outside. There's Cooper DeJean is covering Wicks right here. Nobody on Josh Jacobs, and Love is going to leave the pocket, and he could just dump it off to Josh Jacobs. He's probably going to get the first down easy.
Yeah, this play drove me
Watch.
nuts.
Look,
Just throw it to him. What are you doing?
because Oren Burks is over here trying to catch up. Well, he ain't going to get there. Just throw it over here. He's going to take off this way. Boom, first down.
God.
Or even go to Wicks here, who's probably going up like this.
Or even
No.
sell like you're going to tuck it and run and see if you can pull the backer up before you dump it off.
Throw it to the guy that's 5 yards away from you and let him run. The guy who's broken 12 tackles in the game. Like, throw him the freaking ball.
And
Jesus.
you're like, and you can't say, oh, well, and it's just dumb decisions. Dump it off.
Well, he's just
Like, what are we
throwing things
doing?
up. I mean, when he does throw it, it's just throwing these Russell Wilson-y moon balls that are
Yeah,
just
but
like jump balls.
They're
But you
not
don't
Russell
have
Wilson
DJ
moon balls, because Russell Wilson moon balls go up and then come down beautiful. This guy just throws like I don't know, it's a straight shot.
It's just
Yeah.
like it's up for grabs, but he doesn't have the receivers for that.
And then there's this play.
And it's usually underthrown, Rick, too. So that's
And
the other
I don't
part.
think Malik Heath had to jump here. It was a high throw, is inaccurate.
Doesn't
but
matter.
here-
He couldn't
The
get his
reason why,
feet in.
yeah,
It's-
the reason why I'm showing it is
neat.
if Love had dumped that off to Josh Jacobs, that would probably be Romeo Doubs right now. And Romeo Doubs would have caught that and stayed in bounds.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And the other thing that's really funny is later on in that press conference, Matt LaFleur, talks about how when Love came back, they were talking about Love's performance all season. He's like, well, when Love came back and he was hurt, he wasn't able to practice that much. So, that's why he was a little bit off and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, did Malik Heath get to practice with the ones this week or ever? But you're calling Malik Heath out on a route, right? He called him out saying he didn't run a 20-yard route, which I already proved was bullshit. I don't care.
Yep.
It would have been a
Yep.
dumb call anyways. But you're telling me that Malik Heath, who probably didn't practice with the ones all week, there was games where he wasn't even active, right? You're going to call him out, who was an undrafted guy, who's a sixth receiver on the team? But for Jordan Love, you're going to make excuse after excuse after excuse? A guy in his fifth fucking season making $55 million a year? That's bullshit. Bullshit. Matt
They
LaFleur.
First of all, that ball is late. Number one, look how open he is. Like,
Yeah,
get
he's
the ball
wide ass
over
open.
there.
Wide ass open. I mean,
Just
there's
get
not
it over there. Throw it. He's open. Why is it?
So
He
since
should've-
we're looking at
came down with
that route, whatever you want, whichever
Route.
you like to do. If Davante hypothetically would come back,
He'd catch
how long
that.
do you think it's going to be before he loses his mind at like getting killed because he's got to reach behind him or go way up, and not getting the neat little clean over the shoulder and tiptoe out of bounds throws. Like,
I don't know, but it's not.
It ain't gonna work. Like a veteran receiver, sure, it'd be a great plus, but I don't think he's gonna be happy.
I mean, throughout this game, it was Tom Brady told you everything you needed to know.
Dump it off.
Right?
He said, throw it short.
No, but he said this is not what the Packers do. Like when you're playing this defense, it needs to be precision passing, right? And you need to take what the defense gives you and methodically work your way down the field, and it has to be precision passing. And the Packers that's not their forte. And it's not. Jordan Love is not a precision passer. So against this defense, he struggles, and he did. Tom Brady told it to you the whole game. All you do is listen to him.
Well, the road trees are stupid, right? I mean, the Eagles are just suffocating the middle part of the field, but yet they keep sacrificing one or two receivers going up the middle with no chance of getting open. But they're also not sucking those guys out of position to leave it open underneath.
Well,
so why?
This is
why
This is the last pick, and then it's the last video. Okay, so after this we can talk about whatever the hell you guys want. But and the last pick, people Matt LaFleur said, "Oh well, I mean that's a desperation shot." Blah blah blah. It's first down. First of all, if anybody can see on the top of the screen, there's a 1 there. First down. I know the time, like they had no chance of winning this game. What's the point of even doing this? Number one. Number two.
Well, if you get a touchdown, you can still go for the onside kick. It's still a chance.
But I'm telling you right now, he doesn't even look at the defense. He just rolls out and says, I'm chucking this thing. Because if he would stop and look, he would see Zach Bond has vacated the middle of the field and frickin' Malik Heath is wide ass open.
Yeah.
Like, what are you looking? He's not looking at all. Look at where the linebacker is. If the linebacker is going deep with our guy Melton, that's 3 fucking defenders are going to be deep here covering Melton. And nobody cover Malik Heath. He's wide open. Chuck it to him.
I think that safety over the little dude in the middle is
this guy.
Yeah,
he ain't that close. Moving? He ain't gonna get.
He's pretty
Malik.
far away. Yeah,
he ain't getting a Malik Heath on a pass. But I'll show you from the other ankle. He never even looks. He doesn't see Zach Bond. The fact that he took off up and took away the middle of the field. He just chucks it.
And underthrows too.
To Bo Melton, who's what, 5'10", 5'11". Now just watch Love on this play.
Yeah, 5'10".
He doesn't look at shit. He rolls out and just chucks it. Doesn't even look.
You've shown video for weeks.
This is Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, it's the same thing. He's missing all his reads. He's just not throwing the ball where it should go.
This is some Mitch Trubisky stuff. How many times have we played the Bears with Mitch Trubisky? They'd be moving the ball, and they get to about like the 50-yard line. And then for some unknown reason, the Bears would just be like, hey, we're going to take a shot. And then Mitch Trubisky would just take the shot. Even if it wasn't there, he would just chuck it up. And then like Rasul Douglas would get a pick or Amos would get a pick off it. And the Bears would stall or stop, right? With turnover because, Mitch Trubisky's like, well, the coach said I got to take a shot. So I'm just going to take the shot. No! And that was Mitch Trubisky. He was an idiot. Love is supposed to be $55 million a year quarterback. Can you read the defense? I know you're way behind. I know the game's is probably over and you're trying to make something happen. But it's first down. Like
that's some Brett Favre crap right there. That's Brett Favre against the Eagles. That's Brett Favre against the Eagles in the playoffs. That's Aaron Rodgers chucking it up against the Lions when he didn't have to.
Yeah, but the difference is Brett Favre would have drilled that mother effer like faster than shit. And the receiver would have hit it, the corner wouldn't have been able to catch it. It would have bounced off his hands because he would have threw it so damn hard. But that's all the videos I got. When I heard the Matt LaFleur talk about the Jordan Love picks and he blamed Willis's Wick's route that he didn't stack the corner. I just showed you he did stack the corner and he gave Jordan Love plenty of room to throw that ball.
And he just underthrew it.
And the reason that's the thing, he underthrew it. That's why he was on top of him.
Yeah.
Wicks had to slow down. He had him beat. Throw the ball downfield on a rope with plenty of room. That was a great route by Wicks. That's bullshit by Matt LaFleur. The Malik Heath route, if he would have ran a 20-yard route, he would have never been open. So Love would have never threw it. And we showed, Love wasn't even looking over there. He did a no-look pass. I think Rick's right. I think that was supposed to be Tucker Kraft, and he fell down, and I think Tucker Kraft was supposed to be coming across the middle. And Love never even looked. He's just like, oh, Tucker Kraft's supposed to be there, so I'll just chuck it in the middle of the field and not even look. You're not Matt Stafford, okay? You can't do it, Love. You're not that good. And then the last pick, Malik Heath, wide ass open, and Love just was like, nah, I'm chucking it no matter what. First down, don't give a shit. And also, when Romeo Doubs got hurt, Josh Jacobs wide open, easily could have got a first down there. And he decided to chuck it to frickin' double-teamed guy in the end zone, and then Dobbs gets hurt, and then that forces Malik Willis to come in the game, who has no practice with the team and is an undrafted player. And on fourth down, when you need a guy to make a catch, it's not Romeo Doubs in the game. It's Malik Heath, who I love, but let's face it, he's not as good as Romeo Doubs, and that's just the facts.
And it's Jordan Love throwing to his left, which he has repeatedly shown he's not very accurate throwing to his left.
Like I said, in the game, I'm watching the all 22. When he threw to the right, it was great. He threw a bunch of outs to Tucker Kraft. He threw one to Jaden Reed. He had some really good passes, like really good. But he has so many dumb decisions. Like his only completions are either out routes to the right or screen passes and dump offs. Like he had a couple Josh Jacob dump offs on the Texas route, which worked great, but he can't complete a pass downfield. He had a couple where Wicks went out. Like there's two plays in a row where Wicks goes and runs a 5-yard comeback. He hits him, even though there's 5 guys around him. He gets hammered. Then the very next play, he runs the same route and Love throws it in there, and then he gets whacked and he can't catch it. I'm like, you're going to kill these guys. They're just sitting there waiting to hit you. They're just sitting there at 7-8 yards, and they run a 5-yard comeback. And before the ball's even thrown, they're already attacking because they know Love's going to throw it there because he's too afraid to throw it downfield. But then he throws it downfield when he's not even reading the defense.
Right.
I don't know what's going on.
There's
like I have a question for you guys, real quick.
Yeah.
The narrative that's been spinning around here lately, okay? Because why don't you show Lee's text here, Jace? Very important. Let's hear. There's almost zero creativity this game. Seem to be looking for matchups, which is the Mark McCarthy way. Love is not good at looking for matchups. You got to scheme guys open and let out or leak out or use dump offs for Love. Okay. So there's a narrative going around that Josh Jacobs doesn't like running out of the when the quarterback's under center or something. I've never heard of this. Rick, you're a Raider.
Did that happen in the Raider?
Did Josh Jacobs only run out of shotgun his whole entire Raider career? Because he seems like a guy who would love to get ahead of steam and start running over dudes.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's, you're a Raider fan. I'm sure you've seen a couple games of the Raiders with Josh Jacobs there for 5 years or how long he was there. So, but anyway, so the narrative is that the Packers can't run the Matt LaFleur play action plays with the quarterback under center because Josh Jacobs doesn't like running out of that, is what the narrative has been lately. Now, Josh Jacobs never said that, but someone's trying to spin that. Andy Herman's talked about it. A couple other reporters have talked about it. Ryan Woods talked about it. And then they also say that, they've changed the offense to fit Josh Jacobs instead of having Aaron Jones, who was able to spread the defense out, and they'd run the far out zone and blah, blah, blah. And Josh Jacobs like to pound it through the middle. And it did make no sense to me watching this Eagles game where they have 2 giant monster defensive tackles, and we kept trying to pound up the middle with Josh Jacobs out of shotgun, and he'd get like 2 yards. And then one time, he went nuts, and he broke like 25 tackles and got to the 1-yard line, and it was an awesome play. But most of the time, he got his ass kicked because we couldn't do anything. Our offensive linemen are getting our balls whacked by 2 awesome beat tackles of the Eagles. So that's the narrative. Now they're trying to say that because of Josh Jacobs, Matt LaFleur can't run the Matt LaFleur specials, because we talked about this for weeks. We're like, where's the Matt LaFleur specials? Where's the wide open tight end? Where's the wide open, Musgrave, the wide open guys sneaking across on the play action and then rolling out and blah, blah, blah. And this guy's open. Where is all this stuff, right? It's not there. There is no play action. They ran 3 play action plays this year, or this game against the Eagles. 3 plays under center, something like that.
I'm doing my research now. I'm watching a YouTube video from the Packers showing Josh Jacobs' top career plays. 3 of his 4 touchdown runs were with the quarterback under center from when he was a Raider.
So it's a bullshit narrative that someone's trying to pull as to why the Packers aren't running the play action plays out of
4 out of 5.
Quarterback under center.
They are PRing the hell out of this stuff, just
I mean-
rewriting reality to cover.
It almost
asses.
feels right. It almost feels like a conspiracy. Like they have really like gone above and beyond. Matt LaFleur has gone above and beyond to make it not Jordan Love's fault.
Maybe
Like-
he doesn't like to run out of this eye or whatever, but seriously, I've watched 8 touchdown runs. 1 came out of shotgun. Everything else, Carr was under center.
Also,
Okay.
what you were talking about, Ben, it
Yeah. Go ahead.
proves that Jason Wilde is one of our subscribers and frequent watchers of our show, because he goes into the press conferences and asks these questions about the Matt LaFleur specials. He did it this time. He's like, is it fair to say you didn't, he does it in his Wilde way, that you couldn't scheme guys open like you did last year and blah, blah, blah. So Wilde is one of our people. He knows where to go for information. He checks us out and then uses it in his bigger platform to make himself seem smarter. But whatever, it's still legit. The Matt LaFleur, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. This is all he did talk about in the press conference, in his long, 38-minute press conference. He was like, well, we used a lot of different blocking schemes this year that we hadn't used before and blah, 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 blah. Well, why was that? Why did they do that? Because, I don't know why they chose to do it, and we can't know for sure. What we do know is that their offensive line was much more effective at doing those blocking schemes than they were at the zone, the flow this way, and the flow that way. Those guys were not good at it.
Because they don't have to block as long.
Right.
The other thing is, when Malik Willis was starting at quarterback, Matt LaFleur had some Matt LaFleur specials, and they were based on shotgun runs with play action and pulling guards and all the same stuff we've seen, but he ran the passing plays off of those too, which he's not doing with Jordan Love. Now, maybe it's because you don't want Jordan Love to get hurt, because let's face it, Malik Willis was also taking the ball and running with it a couple times on those plays. The other thing Lee talks about here, he doesn't know the history of Jacobs, but he says, quarterbacks don't like turning their back on the defense. That was the Aaron Rodgers thing. He liked being a shotgun because he wanted to see everything and all the whole time, blah, 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 even though it never actually, he couldn't read the defense. Trust me, I watched the 49ers playoff game, the last playoff game he played in. He couldn't read the damn thing. They changed the defense and he got all fucked up. So it didn't matter that he was looking at the defense or not. But when you put your back to the defense out of shotgun with the play action play, yes, you leave yourself to possibly turn around and there's a guy in your face and you're screwed, which is what the Eagles are good at. Matt LaFleur did address that. He did say the Eagles have done that a lot this year, so he didn't want to do that. And I understand. But it's not just this game. It's been a bunch of games where he didn't run the play action plays. The other thing was he spent 10 minutes filibustering about what a play action play is. Oh, I would like to know, what is a play action play, and what do these people think a play action play is, and what this play act is. It was ridiculous. That's probably when you fell asleep, Jace, because he spent 10 minutes trying to figure out what a play action. I don't know what a play action. You don't know what a play action play is, and Matt LaFleur, you're the head coach of a football team for 6 years, and you don't know what a damn freaking play action play is.
Take a play from Bill Clinton with
it's ridiculous.
And it was great. I had my CPAP on. I couldn't sleep at first. I put Matt LaFleur on.
Nice.
Put me to sleep in about 5 minutes.
So, anyways, those are the things that I like. I don't know, but they're trying to. They're giving us every excuse under the sun why Jordan Love was not successful this year. And then there's that big stat Andy Herman, everybody else has been talking about, that Jordan, and I shared it with you guys. Let me see if I can find it again.
It was bad.
It was, and everybody's talking about it, so it's nothing new. Like if you watch Andy Herman or anything else, you're gonna know what it is. But
the biggest thing,
it was
Ben,
Jordan Love. Hold on, a non-play action, non-RPO, non-screen passes this season. Jordan Love is 57.7% completions, 15 touchdowns, 15 picks, a 77.6 rating, 7.5 yards per attempt, and he's like in the bottom 23 of all quarterbacks. Out of just straight back, not even shotgun or just no frills. Just you get the ball, you look back, they run the routes. Now, part of that is we've shown the plays. Some of the plays are dumb. Some of them, like if you watch our shows earlier in the year, Matt LaFleur doesn't like scheme guys open. They don't run routes that get each other open. So that's also a part of why Jordan Love's probably got bad stats there out of those sets. But these are things that we need to really, really figure this out. Like, I can't handle being a Packer fan, it's bad enough when most of the fans don't watch the film, so they don't know what the truth is. They don't know that the narratives are bullshit, right? And it's one thing if you're gonna just say, oh well, we got some issues, whatever. But when you're specifically blaming receivers' routes and blaming protections, he said how bad the protection was, and it wasn't great in a lot of different things. But not speaking the truth on things, like either don't say anything bad about anybody, right? Or be honest about a couple things and be like, yeah, we can improve on these things. If you listen to that also, later on, he finally did go over some things Jordan Love needs to fix. He's like, yeah, sometimes the footwork was bad and this and that. The other thing that's really interesting to me, Tom Clemens is going to retire.
Yep. Out. Done.
Now, do you think he would retire because let's face it, he's had 3 years with Jordan Love, and Jordan Love's footwork is still bad? I thought Tom Clemens was the guru who taught Aaron Rodgers and helped Brett Favre do good at the end of his career with the Pack, and helped Aaron Rodgers start off and become a superstar with accuracy and footwork and all these great things. And Jordan Love doesn't do footwork, and he's not accurate when he's throwing the ball to the left. And now Clemens is just like, I'm out. This guy can't. I think it's just he's like, this guy he's not working. That's what I think it is. I think Clemens is like, the guy's not trying. He's not doing what I'm telling him to do. He's not improving. There's nothing I can do. He won't listen to me. I'm out. Bye. That's what I think's happening. Okay, I'll shut up. I've been talking a lot.
Do you think some of that is, I don't want to keep bringing our buddy AR back into the conversation, but like some of the deflecting, whatever, did some of that rub off on LaFleur? Did some of his, like, you got to learn from the veteran quarterback sort of thing rub off on Love? Like some of the crappy form, throwing off the back foot, not reading. I mean, I don't
see, but the difference was this.
Who knows, right? But
Rodgers could get away
yeah,
with not being able to read the defense because he was so accurate. Like he like that first interception would not have happened. He would have threw that ball 5 yards downfield more and 3 yards over to the sideline, and it would have been a completion or out of bounds. Like Rodgers would have had a perfect pass there. Love, no. Right? That's just the truth. Rodgers would never make a no-look pass. He would spy and sneak and see where the linebacker was, then look over here and then pretend like he threw a no-look pass. But he knew damn well where the linebacker was. Love just threw like, what the fuck? No. Like, this is not... He's got some tendencies from Rodgers. And then LaFleur, when it comes to protecting them, you can never blame Rodgers. Well, Rodgers was a 3-time MVP or whatever, 4-time MVP with two times more with LaFleur, Super Bowl winner, who got the benefit of the doubt from all the fans. Love hasn't proved jack shit. Why are we protecting him? Like, look at all the teams that paid big time guys, right? Daniel Jones. The Giants are like, nah, he sucks. We're out. Like other teams are like, realize this is not working. The guy's bad. We're done. But because we gave this guy $55 million and he's going to be here for a while, they have to. I mean, I think what it is this. LaFleur's like, listen, I'm stuck with this guy. I'm not going to throw him under the bus.
Yeah.
But I'll throw the undrafted Malik Heath under the bus. I'll throw the 5th-round pick, Wicks, under the bus. I'll throw the offensive lineman under the bus. What the hell? I'll throw everybody else under the bus. But, man, I can't throw the quarterback under the bus because I need him to be good, I guess, even though they won more games. The percentage of games they won with Malik Heath or Malik Willis, every time he started, they won.
Those 5th and 6th and 7th round guys anyway. So
right, Goody's gonna let them all go because they're dumb. So that's what he's thinking. He's like, screw it. I don't know.
Looking ahead, I know at the start of the season we talked about the depth of the quarterback or the receiver room. What do you feel about the receiver situation now at the end of the season?
I mean, I know it's interesting because in the last couple of weeks, Ben has come around to the idea of needing to have a guy that you could go to. Like some of these other teams that have a number one wide receiver. And we heard the whole conversation about Packers not having a number one wide receiver and all that sort of stuff. And then we're like, well, but Jordan Love can just distribute the ball to whoever. And it's interesting because for current day NFL, there's the idea that you got to have a go-to guy, and he's your number one guy, gets the most targets, gets the ball when you need to have it, all that sort of stuff. And I don't buy it. I really think you can be effective without that. But Ben was coming along the last couple weeks saying the Packers need to have somebody you can go to on.
Okay, now just wait a second.
Well, that's what you were saying.
No. Hang on.
What were you saying?
I said the go-to guy was Malik Heath, and I was obviously wrong because he can't get his feet in bounds. He should have never jumped up for that pass.
That's a bullshit.
But,
that's a terrible throw, and it's late. And
okay. Yes. But here's the other thing that needs to happen. There's two ways to think about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can have a wide receiver by committee. And you know who did wide receiver by committee? Brett Favre. Did Brett Favre ever have a super? Like Donald Driver is a great guy.
Other than
was
Sterling,
he a freaking superstar? No. Antonio Hans Freeman.
He started his career with a superstar receiver.
He started with Sterling Sharp, but he chucked it to him all the damn time. Like it's all he ever did.
Yeah.
But later on, did he have and Rodgers? Now Rodgers had Greg Jennings. Nobody gives him any credit. He was pretty damn good. He could get open. And Donald Driver could get open. I'll give him that. The difference is this: if your quarterback can't read the defense and can't throw to the open, can't find the open guy, it don't matter. You can have a bunch of C-list wide receivers or B minus wide receivers like we have.
Geez.
I think they're solid. They're all pretty. No, they can't catch. They drop a lot of drops. Now, a lot of those are bad passes that they drop too. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is this: you can have that if your quarterback can read the defense, and the offensive coordinator is calling plays where it's like, okay, I go to this guy, then I go to this guy, then I go to this guy, and the Packers don't run those routes. Those plays. Right. It's either a Matt LaFleur special where a guy's wide ass open, or a bunch of plays that don't have routes that work together, and you got to win your one-on-one matchups apparently, which is shocking to me because I thought that was what Aaron Rodgers wanted to do, and he was mad because he didn't like the Matt LaFleur specials.
Yeah, they were too easy.
With this quarterback, we need a number one receiver because he's going to just throw it where the guy's like I showed you. He could easily dump it off. He could easily get it to Malik Heath. He could dump it to Josh Jacobs. He ain't doing it. He's chucking it to the guy. So we need a guy, apparently a 6'4" with incredible acrobatic skills who can jump up, have perfect hands, runs fast. They don't exist.
You tell me we need the reincarnation of Megatron for Jordan Love to be good.
I guess we need Megatron, or we need like Randy Moss, or like that's the guy we need apparently because Love's just going to chuck it to him when he's triple covered. So we need Sterling Sharp. I don't know, but Love can't. It's based on two things: the quarterback and the system. Our receivers can run these routes. Our receivers can get open if the routes work together. I mean, Malik Heath was open. He just threw it too high.
Yeah, he was in late.
Now, Malik Heath earlier on a touchdown run tripped and fell, and then the ball was a little underthrown and outside, and Malik Heath didn't catch it because it was tripped and fell, and that hurt us. I don't think we scored on that, or maybe we kicked the field goal or something. I don't remember, but I didn't show that play. But anyways, that's what I'm trying to get at. I wasn't saying, we need a number one receiver. I'm saying
this quarterback
with this quarterback, we need another one receiver because he can't read the defense.
Okay,
yeah,
well,
we talked about what if Davante really comes back? There's some pluses to it, right? They'd have a veteran receiver. They got a guy who usually can catch. But I think it's going to turn into the tunnel vision that we saw with Rodgers, where Love is just going to be like only looking to him. Will it work sometimes? Sure. Will it work against a good team or in the playoffs? No. It's just going to be Rodgers 2.0. So short term, it might seem like a plus, but I think long term, it's just going to do detriment to the team. So, but what is their future at receiver, right? Like, I don't trust that Watson's going to stay healthy. I don't know if Dobbs is going to be back next year even, right? Whether it's his decision or the team's, the concussions seem like real concern for him.
Well, he'll be back next year. He's still under contract, but the year.
But if he was wearing,
the team cutting him. Like, he's wearing the skull cap. He had 2 concussions this year. Right? Is he going to be back?
Right? He might. He might Chris Borland it and be like, "Look,
he's the type of guy who might walk away." Just based on his.
Because it's at some point. I mean, you're not going to be Tua. You're going to be like, "Shit, I got to think about the rest of my life here." And that's totally legitimate. I would not have a problem with him for doing that. I'd say like, yeah, man, you got a lot more than these couple of years in football that you have.
Yeah, you don't want to turn into Tua.
No, I mean, so the thing that was striking to me is on that play. Yeah, he hit his head on the ground.
Yeah, wasn't that?
Guys hit their
seem
heads
like
on the
that.
ground all the
Yeah.
time. He was already wearing the guardian cap,
Yeah.
helping to protect himself, and it still made him that messed up.
And he did this, like with his
Yeah.
hands, like he had to.
Yeah,
for a second.
he couldn't walk off. I mean, he needed help walking, and
He was down for a long time.
That's scary stuff. Like you can't mess around with that. So Romeo Doubs might be gone just because of his health.
Yeah,
and that's just part of the gig. And so then you lose a guy who was probably your most reliable catcher.
Yeah, close to a security blanket or as close as they had.
And Watson is hurt all the time. I mean, all of a sudden, this receiving core went from a young, exciting receiving core that had all these different guys to being really depleted, to where the Packers are either going to have to make a move in free agency, which would be really expensive, or draft multiple receivers in the upcoming draft.
Yeah,
So
they don't have the 13 picks like they had the last 2 years either. They got the regular 7, I think.
Right.
But I mean, they lost. We talked about it. What sort of receiver by committee, where each of those guys had their strengths and their roles, but so they lost their hands guy, who was the clutch catch guy, and they lose potentially, or at least can't rely on their big, fast downfield threats. So, what you got? Small, shifty guy, fast guy who's small and going to get depleted every time he goes up to catch the ball.
But he got hurt too.
Yeah. So, right, like all of a sudden it's looking pretty thin. Like those two guys, Dobbs and Watson, really should be the linchpins of this. And I don't know if you can really rely on either one of them being there. So like the receiver room went from something that looked like it should be a strong piece, building blocks for the future, to like, wow, now what? Like that's a concern when that's what you should have been able to build on and try to fill in some of the other holes. But
right with the receivers, it was almost to the point we talked about it weeks ago. Who are they going to choose to give second contracts to? Of these guys, because you have all of these guys, you can't keep them all on their second contracts.
Now you wonder if you can sign any of them back.
Right. I mean, now my guy Bo is looking pretty secure and be getting a contract again and being on the team again because there's nobody left. Right. Well, and he's the only fast guy. If Watson's out,
I think the other thing is Tucker Kraft needs to be a centerpiece of the team. Like I don't understand.
Did you watch his press conference after the game?
Yeah, I did, and not after the game,
or the next day.
That was on Tuesday,
right?
Or
Closing
Monday.
Day. He was very serious, and I love what he said. Like that dude is serious about football, and he's like, "We got to get our shit together."
That's the other thing. Like I think we need to talk about this.
Okay,
Matt LaFleur. They asked what Jordan Love needed to improve on, and his answer was he wants Jordan Love to be more vocal leader. And Tucker Kraft is saying that guys need a wake-up call. He's like, there's all this talking about us. We're going to be a playoff team and go to the Super Bowl, and then we show up and look like that and kind of get punched in the mouth. And he didn't say it. Those were in his words, but I think that's a translation. I don't think he had the right words. He was using a lot of weird, wake-up call and all that kind of. I think it was mostly, hey, in the building, we're all talking about how we're going to be good and how we're going to go out there and win games and get to the Super Bowl and win the playoff games and all this stuff. And then we show up for the playoff games and we kind of get punked, like the Eagles were way tougher than us and handled us and really went after us. And we're not that team. But when you look at all the players on the team, they don't have players that are tough. They don't have players that are aggressive. They do now on defense now. I mean, Edric Cooper is, and Keyshawn Nixon is,
and he might be gone.
And Evan Williams is pretty good, but he got a concussion too when he tried to get all tough and got in, smack the guy. So you got to be careful there. And on offense, there's nobody like Sean Ryan, I guess, is the tough guy. I don't know. Like I missed the TJ Lang times.
Yeah,
we knew there was kind of a guy who was kind of a dick on their offensive line. TJ Lang was going to hit the guy late, and then, or who was the other guy who used to tie guys
That was Luke. He untied
Lucas Patrick.
Dominican's shoe.
Yeah,
Dominican's shoe, and
we need, yeah. And Lucas Patrick always block right up till the whistle. Sometimes after the whistle, just to be a little punk ass bitch, and the defensive lineman get mad. Yeah, we don't have that type of like tough nosed, smack you in the face, like
the Broncos in the '90s, right? Like their offensive line was like all smelly, stanky, like an unsavory band of characters, right? Like linemen shouldn't be pretty boys. They should be dirty, nasty, missing teeth, and mean.
Rick made that text comment about how big and strong Landon Dickerson looks now. Jesus,
well,
I mean,
Dickerson,
he is.
There's one guy who wanted him.
I know, but
I had to push that button.
He went from doing backflips to he is a beefy, like he is big now and strong as hell.
Oh, he looked like a bulldozer.
Yeah. Holy crap.
Can you imagine if he was our left guard or right guard?
I did imagine it. I imagine
it. 230-pound linebacker on a trap block. I bet he's not going to hurt his shoulder because he's standing up and playing patty cake.
No,
I imagine years ago if they had made, they could have pulled it off to get all three of those offensive linemen. But
that'd be a much.
But they should have at least gotten two. And we're going to examine.
If you would have had Landon Dickerson for center, and then Quinn Miners at right guard. Man, we'd be freaking good. like, holy crap.
Yeah.
We'd be really good. But
and the O-line is how you build your team, right? O-line is how you build your team. Like the Eagles just showed it to you. Like, AJ Brown didn't do shit this last game, right? Like these guys.
He read a book.
They didn't have to do anything because the O-line just mauled everybody and the defense mauled people. And football is still a physical game, and the most physical team usually wins.
But my question is this. So Tucker Kraft is saying he's got to take a leadership role. Matt LaFleur is saying Jordan Love needs to be more of a vocal leader. I watched the press conference of Jordan Love after the game, and he seemed like a guy who's like, man, I got my $55 million. We lost. Oh, well, I'm going to go. I'm done. See ya. I'm going to go to Cancun or whatever. I'm cool. Like, he wasn't up. I'm not saying you have to be upset and be like, oh, man, I'm pissed because we sucked and we lost and be all sad or angry. Or you don't have to be sad and angry. But I would like some sort of something. Like, even when he threw up those interceptions, like, it was just kind of just walking off the field and then just like, oh. Then they show him on the sideline. He's just looking at the tablet and he's like, oh. It's like he's not even there.
Some passion, some emotion.
Well, it's like, I'm going to mention something from the 90s or early 2000s. There was a band called Sugar Ray. Terrible band. Yeah. The lead singer is some guy who's now, he wasn't even a good singer, but now he's like some kind of like ET Entertainment Tonight. He's been an Entertainment Tonight guy for 20 years.
Oh, really? Oh.
Anyways, there's this song, and it's like, every morning when I don't know what the words are exactly.
That sounds about as good as the actual song.
But that's how he sings. He sings like a guy who's doing something else. Like his concentration is on something else, right? Like he's playing a video game and they stuck a mic in front of him. He's like, hey, sing the song. He's like, oh, okay. But he's really like into the video game. And he's kind of like, every morning. He's just like, whatever. And that's Jordan Love. He's like, whatever. He's a guy who seems to be not there. You know what I mean? He's just like,
it's fair.
And then you see teams with like Baker, and Baker's the extreme, the opposite, right?
Pissed.
Baker's just crazy.
Yeah.
And you got to find, and then you got Sam Darnold, who's like, his eyes are, you see in Ghost again. He's just like, oh, he looked like he was going to freaking take a dump the whole game. And all these quarterbacks have issues, man. And it makes you think back to when you're watching guys like, and I wasn't a Favre guy, and I'm not
except Jaden Daniels. That dude don't have any issues.
Jaden Daniels says he ain't worried. You watch Lamar Jackson? Watch Lamar Jackson. There's guys all around him, and he's just like, whoop. He doesn't even give a crap. And he's like,
yeah, it's because he can like stiff arm him and jump over him and run like 100 miles an hour.
But I'm just saying, like, these guys, like Josh Allen looks a little worried sometimes, but like when you're good, Joe Burrow, like he just kind of like moves like 1 inch to the left and he avoids the rush and then he freaking throws a freaking like perfect pass. It's like, it's hard to watch these perfect, awesome quarterbacks who are making less than Jordan Love is making. And then you watch Jordan Love, who just looks scared and he gets pressure. He can get away. Like he's avoided sacks all year, which is great.
Yep.
And that probably has helped him that he has like a kind of like a even keeled demeanor. Right. And that's great. But there comes a time when you need to be like the guy. You know, you need to be able to like lead. And I don't know. I think having Aaron Rodgers there kind of stunted his leadership growth because he couldn't. He was just kind of like a back, like because even when Rodgers was there, a lot of the guys said because Favre had his own locker room, right? He had his own thing at the end when he was a Packer. He kind of like he didn't always talk to the guys. So Rodgers was able to take all the young guys and kind of like, you know, be their bud and like whatever and kind of galvanize with the young dudes. And even Greg Jennings and Donald Driver were like, even they were like, yeah, Rodgers just kind of got it, right? Where when Rodgers was here, even up to the end, he was the guy calling the shots. And he didn't treat Love like crap. He was nice to him.
Right.
And Love kind of sat back and was just like, oh, yeah, well, Rodgers is nice. And then Rodgers was still the leader. And he never gave Love a chance to even try to be the leader. And then last year when he showed up, he had to be the leader. The leader was Aaron Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And Goody was like, okay, we're not going to sign back Aaron Jones because we need Jordan Love to be the leader this year. And guess what? This year there was no leader. And that's the problem. There was no leader on offense. And the defense
Josh
hasn't had a
Jacobs
leader.
was the leader, and he just got there.
Well, I guess Josh Jacobs was the leader, but he ain't no Aaron Jones when it comes to leadership.
Well, right, but he just got to the team. Like it's different if you've been around a while and versus
talent wise aside. I mean, I guess like looking at what Carr meant to the Raiders. Okay, that guy's a little crazy. He's a little inconsistent, right? But I know, Ben, you'll agree, like he was passionate. He'd get guys fired up, right? If guy was down, he would go pick him up, right? Was he consistent? He was certainly not consistent, right? Like he had some stinkers of games.
What are you talking about? Aaron Jones?
No, Derek Carr.
Oh, Derek Carr. Yeah.
Right? So I'm just saying, like,
but he was a good leader, though.
Talent-wise, right? Like, if on paper, stats, college tape, whatever, maybe Love is a more talented quarterback than he was. But you look at what, when he was with the Raiders, they were potentially a playoff team. They were a playoff team some years. He leaves because, I mean, stupid contract. People are kind of sick of him because he was laying eggs in big games. And look at him now. I mean, they were in contention for the top pick in the draft, right? The team wasn't that good when he was there. They didn't lose that much talent over the last couple of years. So, what's the difference there? I mean, you got a leader who can rally these guys, make the most out of these guys that don't have a ton of talent, that maybe aren't going to win their one-on-one matchups, but they show up, they try hard, they stay in the game, they keep their head in the game. As bad as Green Bay was playing this game, they weren't really out of it until pretty late in the game.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, watching the game, they were getting their heads handed to them, but on the scoreboard, they were still in striking distance. They weren't out of it. Big turnover, stupid play by the Eagles, they were right back in it.
Yeah, but the Eagles didn't. We couldn't get a turnover because the Eagles didn't have to pass. I mean, they just ran it all the time. But I was just thinking of one thing. You just said something about leadership and whatever, and I was thinking about last year. Dontavian Wicks had a drop in a game, and when he came off the sidelines, his head was down. He was all sad, and Aaron Jones grabbed his helmet and picked up his helmet and told him, "We're going to need you," or what? I don't know what he said to him, right? But he like helped him, and Wicks. Then after that moment went on to like be like a skyrocket. And all us Packer fans thought Wicks was going to be the man this year. And he started off the year dropping a bunch of passes.
Yep.
And there was no Aaron Jones to pick his head up this year. And he kept dropping passes. And all those guys kept dropping passes. And when Love, like, who's there to help get these guys going? I think Aaron Jones not being on this team was a huge loss. And you can tell when the Packers played the Vikings, how many Packers went up to Aaron Jones before, after the game, and freaking were hugging him and loving him and all this. I mean, I'm telling you right now, losing Aaron Jones, cutting Aaron Jones, as good as Josh Jacobs was, but apparently not, has to run his own scheme. It doesn't work with the Matt LaFleur system. At least that's what they're saying. That's the narrative that they're putting out there. I'm just telling you that's the narrative that's been going out there in the last couple of days. Aaron Jones, maybe a mistake. Maybe a mistake letting go of a guy who heart and soul of your team, really good player. Energy. And when the Packers came on that big run in one of those games and looked really awesome, there was a certain guy who had 100 yards in like 4 or 5 games in a row when he came back. And I don't know. Maybe That was a dumb move by Goody.
Energy.
So-
the
so-
Packers have no energy. It doesn't look like they're having fun. Even games
No.
they're winning, it doesn't.
The other thing, there's one more guy too, Xavier McKinney.
He's pretty blah.
No, he's not blah. Whenever something
is
goes
blah.
wrong, watch him. His mannerisms, he's always like,
Yeah, he's blah. He's not a fiery leader, and he's not.
well, he complains. And then
a
when
super encouraging leader. He's
somebody-
just kind of
and they were showing like after Valentine got stiff armed into oblivion, and then he went on the sidelines and he was talking to him about something, and then he went and took his helmet or I don't know what.
You know
was going on
what?
with that.
F that. Valentine, I gave him a hell of a lot of credit for that play. Most dudes after the first stiff arm would have gave up, but that dude
That's
kept
true.
coming back after it.
I'll say this: when you're giving up 60 pounds or 70 pounds to a guy, go after his legs.
Yeah, go low.
I
Don't
know,
try-
but
don't
goddamn,
try to
Harry-
hit
Wait, you look like
Harrington
a
Valentine's crazy, and I'm like, you know what? I gained mad respect for him on that play because he just kept coming. He stuck after it, even though he couldn't get it.
he was
He's stuck at
persistent, maybe not
Yeah.
smart, but he was persistent. And that looked like
Well,
a video game clip.
And I can relate
But-
to that. Persistent, but not that smart. I get it. Carrington Valentine, you and I are the same. Look, here's a key thing that nobody talks about, but we talk about in our show, and it's O-line. And you're just talking about leadership. You mentioned TJ Lang before. We mentioned guys like Lucas Patrick and other guys. Who on this offensive line is a leader? Who on this offensive line was supposed to be a tough guy who could maybe set the tone on offense, would call guys out or rally him or whatever? Who? Josh Myers? No.
He's
Elton
supposed
Jenkins?
to be a tough guy.
No. Sean Ryan's a tough guy, but he's finally got to start. He couldn't even start for 2 years.
Well, no,
Zach
that's
Tom
they
is
they
quiet.
wanted Josh Morgan to start. They
Right,
tried
Zach-
to not start him.
Zach Tom is the quietest guy you'll ever meet. He's a good player, but quiet.
Yeah.
Rasheed Walker was a 7th-round pick who worked his way into left tackle because they had nothing else. Like, you have no leadership on the offensive
You
line.
forgot Elton Jenkins, the Pro Bowler.
I said him. He's not a leader.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but what? So some of these young guys, what do they see from guys that have been outspoken, right? Like Rasul comes in, he's a leader, maybe too outspoken, and gets sent packing. So, like,
See, I feel like people gave Love a hard time because he was trying to prepare him for the battles that were to come. Like, he talked about that in the preseason. Like, they were on him. Remember, he's like, "Oh, we're on him. We're on him because we got to get him prepped for the season ahead and all this stuff."
What? Who are we on?
Rasul, remember he was on Jordan
Oh,
Love,
Rasul. Yeah.
right? He even
Yep.
said it. He's like, "We're on him. We're on him." He talked a lot of trash in practice because he was preparing Love for the games, for what was going to happen. And
Yeah.
so that was look, that whole Rasul thing came because the Bills were like, "Damn, that's a good player, and he's cheap." He's a starter, a cheap starter for the Bills for the last 2 years because the Packers are dumb, and the Packers still can't even find quarterbacks to start that are any good. We're going to draft another one in the first round, but that was all Goody's hubris, Goody's dumbass hubris, who was like, "I can turn a guy we picked up off the street into a 3rd-round pick. I'll give up a 5th." But well, anyway, we still get a 3rd-round pick
Yeah,
for
you
some
moved
guy.
up like 100 spots. Yippee.
For some guy
even
who could have been a
60
good
spots.
starter for you for the last 2 years in a position where all you had was a revolving door and problems with your 1st-round picks and all this sort of stuff.
oh, think of what he could have got for Stokes. I mean, that guy was a 2nd-round pick. He could have parlayed that into 2 firsts,
First-round
probably.
pick, Rick.
Stokes was a
First-round.
first-round pick, Rick.
First
Was he
round because
first?
he ran fast in a straight line.
He was a first-round pick during the Wonder Rick test.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right.
it's great.
Maybe that's why you forgot, because you were doing the Wonder Rick. You
Oh,
were
yeah.
initiating the Wonder Rick.
Leadership was a problem before. Aaron Rodgers had leadership,
Oh, yeah.
sort of, but he was a terrible leader. And now we have no leaders. Guys are wondering if we got to bring in vets. Lee says Love is a follower. Matt LaFleur wants Love to be more of a leader. I just don't think he can be more than one. But he's like, guys got to be who they are. Like, I never ask guys to be
Well, that's the other
step
thing.
outside themselves and be
You
who
can't-
they're not. But
You can't be a leader if you're not. You can't all of a sudden become
Right.
something, because people know you're fake. You're full of crap, and then the guys won't follow you at all then either. So, listen,
And is Kenny Clark a leader? Like, he's one of your
No.
veteran players who's high price. Not a leader.
he's never been a leader.
So football is often won on the line, right? Who's the most physical, dominant, fiery on the line? We already established there's no offensive linemen that are leaders. Are there any defensive linemen that are leaders?
TJ.
He was an offensive lineman turned into a defensive lineman who's making like $3 million. He can't be a leader. if he gets a second contract, he could
They
be.
probably won't even sign
He
him back.
looked pretty
They're done.
fiery at the end of the game when he was all P.O. to the floor.
Hell yeah,
He should be P.O. to the floor.
yeah,
He's like, I'm gonna freaking be. Yeah, so he tackled the guy a little late. Yippee skip.
yeah.
The game was over. Who gives a shit?
and it
F
wasn't
you,
even
Matt
that bad.
LaFleur.
Matt
It
LaFleur
wasn't that bad of a
yelling
play.
at
He
him,
didn't even like throw him that
It's
hard.
pretty
It was
bad.
just
no.
that was a
He's a big
bullshit
dude.
call.
He weighs as much as like an SUV. It happens.
It's freaking awesome. It's dumb if we lose him, but,
But
they're gonna
but
let him go.
we don't have leadership there either. So where do the leaders come from?
We don't
I
have any
mean-
leaders.
According to
It doesn't-
JJ, they're gonna trade and try to get Max, but no.
Gary
No,
Gary is
that-
our leader. Gary is an okay leader, but his play.
But
isn't
his
good.
play, that's the other problem.
Yeah.
When you're paid like that and you
Yeah.
don't play,
Guys see it. Guys in the lock.
it's hard to be a leader because, yeah, once you
Why do you-
can't match when you can't match what you're being paid,
Mhm.
all the talk means nothing because you can't back it up on the field, and then guys will be like, well. After a while, you'd be like, well, this guy is not even good. Like that's why I don't think Love could be a leader either. He's got to be
What-
good on the field, and he's not.
The perfect example is Keyshawn Nixon after this game. Keyshawn Nixon was undrafted guy, right? Undrafted guy. The Raiders are like, you're not good enough to play. Get the hell out of here. Big Sakia brings him over. He's a special teams guy. Oh, wait, we need you to play some corner. Okay, play some corner. First year. Oh, well, you're pretty good at that. We'll play again. And we don't have that good of corners, even though we say we draft corners and our quarterback room is so great. We'll get rid of Rasul Douglas. We're so good. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. And then you play this year, and he is the key guy, the key corner on the team, the best corner we have on the team the whole season, no matter what you want to say. And you get and he sees it. He sees Jair Alexander making all this money the last couple of years, doing either not playing or playing half-ass most of the time, not tackling guys, not doing all this other stuff. And he's like, I see it. I need some of that. I need to be CB1. I need to get the money. Because that's what you're going to see from guys. They see the other players who are getting a bunch of money and not performing, and they're like, I'm performing better than these guys. Why don't you give me some money and give me some respect and give me the position? That's what's going to happen.
It's hard to follow a guy who isn't meeting his contract. And as much as Aaron Rodgers was a bad leader, he was a good player. I mean, he sometimes didn't read he wouldn't throw the freaking ball in the middle of the field. Yeah. But he was so accurate to the outside, it didn't matter. And yeah, he was an asshole, but he was so good. People followed him because he was good.
The last couple of years, as long as he was playing, there was a chance that like he could make something happen, right? Especially the first few years.
I wouldn't go that far, but
as long as he didn't get down by multiple scores.
Yeah, if he's down by 2 scores, he's done. He's not
Okay,
going
as long as
to
he hadn't packed it in, right? Like with Favre, it was more of a roll of the dice where
Favre had to wait till he was down by 2 scores, then he would turn it on. Then he would turn it on once he got down by 2 scores. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
So,
but like, okay, going back to like the Favre era, right? Where's today's Travis Jervey, right? Cheap guy, nobody coming in, but just wild, crazy, like,
I don't think those guys exist.
Get fired up, get the team fired up, just the wild man that's going to come out of nowhere and get the team rallied, right? Who's going to break a big play?
the Citadel doesn't put out too many pros.
Yeah,
Right.
they don't have it anymore. All I know is this: Oren Burks is the reason why.
What the hell, Oren Burks?
Like, what's going on?
He was terrible for the Packers. He goes to the 49ers. He does okay. Now he's at the Eagles. He does pretty good. Like, I don't get it. I never saw him make a hit like that in his whole Packer career.
Never.
Coaching, scheme, people around him.
Yeah, I mean, he's so messed up. I don't know.
All right, here
I gotta call it soon, guys. But
all right, let's do this before you go. This is something I wanted to share because I looked this up.
Oh no!
And it goes back to the Keyshawn and the Jair comments here at the end of the season. Jair declining to talk to the media because he didn't have anything good to say.
Well, he also declined to play all year, so I think he just wants to decline everything.
And Keyshawn got some crap for fumbling, but he said, I did recover it. I don't know why they didn't, whatever. And then he said they should have thrown a flag for piling on and all this stuff. And if you watch, he did recover it. But also, Keyshawn was a really good player for us this year. And he's like, I should be CB1. CB1s don't return kickoffs. And he's right. So let's look at these numbers here real quick. Just a quick comparison. We're going to look at 2 Packer cornerbacks for their 3rd season with Green Bay. Okay. This is what happened in their 3rd seasons with Green Bay. Cornerback 1, 1,020 snaps. Cornerback 2, 900 snaps. Cornerback 1 had 88 tackles, 61 solos, 8 tackles for a loss, 3 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 6 QB hits on 9 blitz attempts, 7 passes defended, and 1 pick. Cornerback 2 in that 3rd season had 900 snaps, 51 tackles, 40 solo, 2 TFLs, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, 1 QB hit, 13 passes defended, and 1 interception. Here's a few more things from that 3rd season, just to get some misnomers out of the way. Cornerback 1 was targeted 87 times. Cornerback 2 was targeted 80 times. Completion percentage for the quarterback, 57.5 versus 57.3 or 51.3. So that one is lower, certainly. Yardage given up, 464, but only 153 yards after contact. 375 with 123 after contact. 3 touchdowns given up by cornerback 1, 2 by cornerback 2. And the QB rating, 78.9 and 67.4. Who the hell are these guys? Cornerback 1 is Keyshawn. Undrafted. Started out with the Raiders. They said he wasn't good enough. Packers, he's their best corner now. Way to go, Raiders again. First year. This was his first year starting as a corner, as an outside corner. He played, and the other thing is he played every snap that the team put him on the field for. He's overlooked. He's a producer, and he's a physical player. Jair, first round pick, high paid, often injured, overhyped, not much production when you really look at it. That's the story of these 2 cornerbacks. The other thing, that season, this 3rd season with these statistics, Jair was an all-pro, 2nd team all-pro. Keyshawn was not. Explain it to me, because it's kind of bullshit when you really look at it.
Jair's
There's
not
no-
coming back.
But
Jair's not coming back, Jason.
Better not come back.
You won.
Jair was an all-pro twice in his career. That was his 3rd season with the Packers. Those were his statistics for an all-pro season. Keyshawn Nixon just did that for the Packers, and he is not even in the mention, not even thought of as a top-tier corner. Sign the guy back. He's a good corner, and he's physical, and he does the things you need him to do.
But he's still under
88
contract
tackles?
yet.
88 tackles? Are you freaking kidding me?
I'm pretty sure he's still under contract next year, dude. Keyshawn.
Well, he probably would hold out because they'll sign him back as a special teams returner guy for pretty cheap. I thought he only had 1 more year left. I thought he signed a 2-year deal before last season. I could be wrong. But that guy's your best cornerback, and you suck at drafting cornerbacks. Sign him back. Let the other guy go. Save all the cap money after June 1. What was it, like $17 million on the cap they can save if they cut Jair after June 1? Do that. Smart. I mean, trade him if someone was dumb enough to trade you something for the guy.
They're not going to trade him. Like, no one's going to trade for him.
Well, Raiders might. Jets might.
Keyshawn, you know that Keyshawn's only 27 years old?
Yes, I know.
He is under contract for the 25 and 26 season.
What? How the hell did he get duped into that contract? Damn. Because he's undrafted. These undrafted guys get screwed.
Well, this year he made $4 million. Next year he's on the cap for 6.8. And the year after that he's on the cap for 7.1.
God, it's still cheap as hell for a starting corner who played 1,000 snaps and tackled 88 guys.
Hey, I want to just circle back to something quick. We were talking about Jacobs and the crap about how, likes to run out of shotgun.
Yeah.
At least part of his time with the Raiders, he was running behind a fullback. Right? I mean, they had Alec Ingold there for
That's right.
years, right? It's like he's probably running out of an eye most of the time.
His narratives are BS. It's
Right?
just
Like this
maddening.
doesn't make any. Maybe he doesn't like it, but that's what he was doing. I mean, Ingold was like probably still is the best fullback in the league. How many fullbacks are there? Like 5. But I mean, that was the Raiders' standard running attack.
I'm not
years.
saying. Listen, I'm not saying Matt. This is a narrative by Matt LaFleur. This is a narrative by some of the reporters, and then they ask the questions to Matt LaFleur, like, "Oh, why are you not running into play action anymore? And you guys aren't, blah 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 under center and all this." But he doesn't really answer anything.
He probably doesn't love getting.
Well, he did say
because-
apparently LaFleur did say in this last press conference that their running plays, they are better out of the shotgun or something than they were out from under center this season. But I also think some of that had to do with the Malik Willis games where he was out of shotgun and it was all like RPO stuff. And that is, skewed the numbers like crazy for those 2.5 games he played because, we ran all over the place. We were getting like 260 yards a game there for a while because it was crazy.
Love already takes like a 17-step drop half the time. So
I know, and he's already in the shotgun. So he's like throwing the ball an extra freaking 20 yards just to get to the line of scrimmage.
He's not Patrick Mahomes. He shouldn't be doing that stuff.
Right.
Look, so Rick, if you got to go, peace out. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you.
Thanks,
Later,
Rick.
guys.
We'll see you later when Max Crosby gets straight to the pack.
Remember, it's another promising offseason for the Raiders. So hang in
Nowhere to go but up.
I just want to point this out as Rick heads out. I did not make that comparison because Jair stinks and he's highly overrated and highly overpaid, and they should part ways with him.
Yet all those things are true. Yep.
JJ, the seasons I compared were not Jair's 7-game season this year. They were Jair's first all-pro season, his 3rd season with the team. This was Keyshawn's 3rd season with the Packers. They were the 3rd season comparison with those numbers.
Yeah, it was 900 snaps, so it was definitely more than 7 games.
He played 15 games that year, started 15 games that year. Keyshawn played in 17 games, but started 15 games this year. He had a little more than 1,000 more snaps, but did a lot more with those snaps for the team. So the reason I put that up is that you have Keyshawn had a really good season, and I want people to understand that. Like Jair had an all-pro season with his 3rd season with the Packers. Keyshawn topped most of those numbers except for passes defended and was by far out in front of him with tackles and other things that were really important, TFLs and all this sort of stuff that are impacting the game. And he started every play that he got a chance to be in the field. And like that dude needs to be recognized for what he was saying after the game. He should be corner for this team, who's Eric Stokes is going to be gone. Jair should be gone. Carrington Valentine, yeah, he's still around. You're going to have to draft some more corners. You're going to have to maybe sign some in free agency. Keyshawn Nixon is a building block for you at cornerback, and he just proved to you with his play this season. He finally got a chance to start. He played very well. You need to build around that guy, and you need to show him the Packers should actually give him a little more. I don't know how they want to do it, but restructure the contract, give him a signing bonus, do whatever they got to do, but show him a little appreciation at a position that they have struggled to keep guys around at and find the right guys at, because he had a really good year. He really, really did. And I heard some people say some crap in comments after he said he didn't want to return kicks anymore. They're like, I thought that's why they signed you, because you sure get beat a lot as a corner. I'm like, no, he doesn't.
But the narrative is that, like, even Andy Herman this year is saying that, and I don't know if it was him. I think it was Justice Mosqueda guy who I think he thinks he knows everything, and I don't agree with that. But I think they were talking. They were like, well, I mean, Keyshawn ideally at a nickel. I mean, he's okay, but at outside corner, he's not very good. We'd rather have Jair out there, and it's like, no, like Keyshawn's great. Especially what I would like to see would be, even if it just keeps the guys they have, right? I would like to see Keyshawn and Valentine swap sides based on like the alignment of the offense. And
Mhm.
I would like to see Bullard in the slot, and whatever side Bullard's on, that's where Valentine is. And that way we won't have an issue as much with Valentine getting taken advantage of in the run game because he's so small and he can't really tackle that great. Because Bullard will knock you off your socks and he'll play good around line of scrimmage, right? And then Keyshawn can handle corner on the outside by himself on the other side. And then you got the linebackers in the middle with Quay and what's his face, Cooper, or whoever's here next year. Hopefully, I mean, I hope they can get McDuffie back for a little bit. People are also talking shit about McDuffie constantly, and I'm kind of getting sick of that too.
Do you think they'll sign him back? They should, but they probably won't.
I think they will with Hafley being here. I think they'll maybe try to give him like a 1-year deal or something just to keep him around since Hafley's here, because I think Hafley likes him having him on the team because he knows his shit.
I mean, you could
And he
sign him
trusts
cheap for 3 years, and he's still going to be in his
I know,
prime.
but I don't think he'll get.
And he still
I
has
don't-
value, even on even if he's not a starter, he's value as a backup and value on specials for the amount you're going to pay the guy. Like, come on, it's a good move.
Yeah, don't worry about PFF grades. Tucker Kraft always has a crappy PFF grade, and I don't know like what's up with that. And then you'll see guys, like Elton Jenkins with a good one. And I'm like, no.
Ooh, hang on to that, John. Hang on to that.
What?
We'll get back to that in a second. I think Nissen did a good job, no doubt. He has average PFF. Yeah. Look, Keyshawn. Okay, is Keyshawn a glue corner? No, but he's physical. He supports the run as well as any cornerback in the league. All of those, and Troy Aikman, even watching the Monday night game, Troy Aikman pointed out in one of the quick screen plays to wide receiver where someone just attacked it and blew it up. Keyshawn does that. That's how you have to defend those plays, and teams like to do those plays. And when the corner sits back like Eric Stokes or Jair, you just inviting that blocker to come and turn it into a big play. The only way to stop it is you stop it before it gets started. And Keyshawn does that consistently. Okay, he supports the run. He's good at blitzing. He's versatile. You can play him inside if you need to. You can play him outside. He has a lot of value. And like the dude is just a football player. I don't care if he's not as fast as some other guys. He's a good football player. He's not very big. He's not very big, but he freaking throws his body at people and he doesn't get hurt. Like, give me that guy on my team. Hell yeah. And put him on the field.
The other thing is Bullard is much better at the nickel than he is at deep safety.
Sure.
And because of Evan Williams playing so well, we can afford to put Keyshawn at corner, outside corner, and have Bullard, who I don't think is too much of a step down from Keyshawn playing nickel. It might even be a step up, especially in the run game and so forth.
Yeah.
So those are all good things. And like really the only weakness would be the other corner, which
We have to draft again.
you know, Valentine has proven a couple things this year where he can break off play. He breaks off coverage. He keeps his eyes on the quarterback. He had a couple really good picks. Obviously, you know, Goddard took him and freaking schooled him with a stiff arm 3 times in a row and made him look like a chump. But he's not a big guy. Like he has to understand to go low on him or whatever. But when it comes to covering and understanding his assignments and stuff, he does okay.
He gives effort on tackling, even though he's
yeah.
small.
He's
He
trying.
tries.
That's better than freaking Stokes and Jair.
Yep.
But
Here's
my biggest upset, or my biggest thing that is shocking to me is how we had a top 5 defense with like no pass rush all year. Like nobody could get any pressure on the quarterback unless we blitz guys, unless it was McDuffie or Cooper or somebody coming in through or Keyshawn or whoever. Like we got a serious issue, and with TJ Slayton going, how are we going to stop the run? I mean, when TJ Slayton's not in there, somebody had a stat. It was actually Justice Mosqueda. He was on Andy Herman the other day, and they said that when TJ Slayton's on the field, the Packers give up like 3-point-something yards per carry. When TJ Slayton's off the field, they give up 6-point-something yards per carry. Yeah. But then on offense, the Packers pass rush pressure rate with TJ Slayton on is like really low compared to when he's not on because he doesn't get any pressure. But that's expected. I mean, he's a big fat guy who freaking, you know, He's not actually going to get through there.
Mm-hmm.
But his run game defense is so damn good. Like, what are we going to do without him? We got nothing. I mean, Colby Wooden can't stop anybody. Kenny Clark is useless. Carl Brooks is smart, but he's not like, he can't really hold up against like double team or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Where TJ Slayton can hold up against double team. He can penetrate, or at least not penetrate, but he can like shed and frickin' attack.
He can move.
And he's without TJ, I don't know what we have. Like, they're gonna have to draft some guys, and I'm worried. I'm worried that Matt LaFleur chewing him out after that thing, and then he getting all mad at him too. And I'm just like, if I was TJ Slayton, I'd be like, screw you. I'm done. This is my contract's up. I can go anywhere I want. And you know, we got guys like Mikey Bo who's like, oh, he looked good in purple. That's what he told us on the text thread.
Yep. And the Vikings need big dudes in the middle. They don't have many. So I could see them easily taking them and offering them like like a pretty nice contract to get him to come over too. Not what the Packers will probably offer him if they do offer him anything.
I think somebody was asking about, should we get into what Lee was talking about, where he thinks the Pack is going to turn into like a middling.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a second. I want to finish on Slayton real quick, which is he like, I mean, we talked about it last week, but I just want to reemphasize most teams that get a big guy like that can be a disruptive force in the middle have to draft those guys in the first round. This guy was a 5th round draft choice who was an offensive lineman in college. They turned into a defensive lineman. It was a project. The project has worked well. Like, the Packers need to find a way to keep him if at all possible. And without him, it's drastically different. The run defense is, but they just don't have big dudes. So some people are saying there's good guys in the draft. Maybe they find one. Maybe they don't. They'll probably draft. The problem is they're going to have to go high for a corner. They are. We're going to draft a corner again in the first round. And if Goody picks some, lanky guy who can run fast, it's going to be another blowout, another miss. That's just what's going to happen. I will get it to John's comment in a second. Here's the one concern I have about McDuffie is, are they thinking, oh, Hopper is going to be stepping up? And we got him because we drafted him last year. So McDuffie, see you later. We don't need you.
Yeah, they'll let McDuffie go. But they have no replacement for TJ Slayton. Right. I think they have to sign back TJ Slayton. I mean, I got to be honest. Like, I don't know.
We'll see. They've let other good players go because they think they can just.
Who was that? Hey, do you remember who the guy was that I liked coming out of Canada? He was from Canada.
Yeah, he played for the
Rams. He got a. Yeah, what was his name?
Neville Gallimore.
Neville Gallimore, yeah. Because he was drafted by the Cowboys and kind of flamed out, and then now he's with the Rams and he's like getting pressure and stuff.
He was a backup though. He didn't play a lot of snaps this year. But let's think about that for a second. The Packers, all the things they've done, right? And here's the result of the team, and here's the result of the Packers. The Rams sold out everything to change their quarterback, to win a Super Bowl. They gave some other resources, right, to go for it.
After they paid the big contract to their quarterback, they realized this guy's not going to win us a Super Bowl. We're going to need to get a quarterback who can.
Right? They gave away all their draft assets. They went for the Super Bowl win. They got the Super Bowl win, right? Then they were screwed. Like, no picks, like hardly any picks for the next bunch of years, right? They finally had a first-round pick, last year or this year?
This year. Jared Verse was their first-round pick since 2016, they said.
And look where they are. How are they good?
Well, they found Puka Nacua in the 5th round. And he's a tough freaking big wide receiver who runs over guys.
But it's even more than that. Their lines are good. Their defense is good. Like, they've not built this defense on a bunch of first-round picks, right? No. And high-priced guys. But their defense was playing their asses off in the game the other night, right? Against Minnesota.
The Vikings had some issues in the past.
I know, but right. But
I'll say this.
Rams,
the old line committee guys, they went through every sack of the Vikings game, and they kind of divvied out who was the reason why, and they gave Sam Darnold like 5 out of the 9 sacks were his fault, and about 4 of them were like the protection fault. So it wasn't like it looked like it was all protection that was bad, but they were like, Sam Darnold's got to get the ball out. Like,
they were doing a pretty good job against the run too, right? They were slowing down the run pretty good.
Well, the Vikings got so far behind that they didn't even run the ball in the second half.
I
you
know, but I
like-
saw a number of Aaron Jones runs where he couldn't get anywhere. Like there just wasn't
No,
enough there.
Aaron Jones was squirting through for 8 yards and he for 12 yards. There's a couple times where he looked good. Like I don't know why they stopped running the ball.
Of course, that's what coaches do. They go away from the run when it's working for whatever reason.
Matt
Inexplicable.
LaFleur does it. Matt LaFleur will run it right freaking into the 2 best defensive tackles in the league against the Eagles over and over and over and get 2 yards, 2 yards, 2 yards. And then finally Josh Jacobs is like, okay, I can't take this anymore. I'm going to break through 17 tackles and get to the 1 yard line. Otherwise, it was like a 2 yard run, 2 yard run, 2 yard run, 2 yard run, 2 yard run. It was like, I don't understand it. It was like banging your head against the wall over and over again, Matt LaFleur. Like, what are we doing? It was just bad.
Josh Jacobs played well though, and he had a really nice season. And
Yeah,
he
but
was
I don't think it
reliable.
works. It doesn't work.
I don't know. We'll
I
see.
said this. People are one more thing.
It
People
should
are
work.
trying to compare him to somebody. I can't remember who it was. They're like, oh, how come the Ravens, they got Derrick Henry, but they figured out how to use Derrick Henry and also still have a passing game and blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, they got Lamar Jackson,
Mhm.
and Derrick Henry is not. Derrick Henry is the crazy thing about him is once he gets ahead of steam, you're freaking screwed because the guy is super freaking monstrous and faster than shit. And you don't
It's
know,
weird.
like, it doesn't make any sense. And he just runs straight up, like 6'3", straight up, 260 pounds or whatever he is, bouncing off guys, shoving guys. Josh Jacobs is not that. Josh Jacobs is not a game breaker. And that's why teams play too deep and take away the pass. And even when the Eagles played too deep, you know, they played that deep cover and they covered everybody. Jacobs was only getting 2 yards, 2 yards, 2 yards. And it wasn't until he finally broke that, that one play. But there was still guys all around him in the secondary because they're all sitting back there. Because teams aren't afraid of Josh Jacobs. He's not going to take it to the house. When Aaron Jones was here last year, teams were afraid of him. Even though Aaron Jones lost a step, but he could still pull off a 40-yard run every now and again.
Yeah.
For Josh Jacobs to get a 28-yard run, he has to break 12 tackles because he has no speed. I mean, he's a great guy, but he's not dynamic. He just isn't.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I like if people are like, oh, what happened? Why are so many teams playing too high against the Packers? Why is our pass game so bad? It's Josh Jacobs. I hate to be a jerk. But everybody's like, well, Josh Jacobs is the best thing about our offense. Okay. But it doesn't lead to points.
And you don't have the precision passing like Tom Brady.
Jordan Love is
about.
getting 160 yards passing a game there. Yeah, we were scoring 30 points because the defense was getting turnovers. And we had a short field. And most of the time we couldn't even get in the end zone. And McManus had to kick a bunch of field goals for us to get points. I mean, it's just not a dynamic offense with Josh Jacobs. He's not dynamic. He just isn't. And that's why the Raiders were able to they're willing to let him go because he's just not. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just like, he's Edgar Bennett, man. He's just Edgar Bennett.
He's better than Edgar Bennett, but
I don't think he is. I think Edgar Bennett might be better than him.
He breaks. He's a lot more physical. He's a reliable dude. I get some comparison there, but he's more dynamic than that. But with, as you point out,
Aaron Jones.
As you point out, without having that dynamic and explosiveness opportunities in the run game, you have to, and the defenses are going to play you that way. You've got to be precise. You got to hit the quick game. You got to hit passes over the middle and the intermediate range. You got to be able to do all that stuff. And Jordan Love is not precise enough or accurate enough to consistently do it. Right. So it's not just about the receivers' drops. It's about the passes not being where they should be. It's about guys trying to make tough catches or just completely missing guys, not even giving them a chance. Jordan Love doesn't have it. And anybody that's watched film on the Packers, that coaches football, examines football, knows it. They all know it. They all know it. So that's the issue. John brought this up, then we'll get out of here. So do you guys see any hope? I think we're heading to the mushy middle. I'd rather a full rebuild with a new GM, coach, and quarterback. At best, we're the third division. We're third in the division and fighting for the last wild card. Okay, well, I mean, I know the Vikings had a great season. I do not anticipate them having as great of seasons coming ahead in the next couple of years. They got a weird quarterback situation. I think Darnold, now it's likely Darnold might sign back with them, which could muddy up their situation even more.
I don't think he's going to anymore.
You don't think? Well, like I think he was off to another team with a big contract before these last couple games, but now after kind of having a rough couple games, it might open the door to them signing him back for kind of
I
cheap.
don't know. I wouldn't sign him back after these last 2 games.
Well, but then sign him back and say, hey, you know, if you can outperform the rookie, you can play, but otherwise, you're the backup.
I don't think they could. I don't think the Vikings. I think another team will give him more money than the Vikings would be willing to give him as a possible, like.
And you're talking about the Raiders here, the Raiders.
The Raiders, the Jets, not the Jets, because the Jets won't sign him back because he was obviously a Jet. But like the Giants, right? Yeah. Like the Giants, the Raiders. I don't know, these type of teams that don't have a quarterback at all. Maybe Indianapolis. Just to give him a quarterback because Richardson is just terrible. Like, I don't know what they were doing with that.
So bad. He's so bad at passing. Oh my God.
But the thing about this is this, or what scares me is the Packers were 1-5 in the division and a block kick away from being 0-6 in the division.
Mm-hmm.
So as bad as the Bears are, they almost beat us twice.
Yeah.
And if they get a half competent coach, because let's face it, Eberflus was a ding dong idiot. So if they get a half decent offensive coach who's able to build the offense for Caleb Williams, who I think Caleb Williams he showed me some pretty good things in that last game. I said, he was pretty smart. He did the acting job when Kingsley Enagbare touched him on the shoulder and he pretended like he got freaking just ripped to the ground. And how many times he threw the ball away when he run to the sidelines instead of taking losing 5 yards, he just threw it away. And I mean, that's just smart stuff. Like Jordan Love don't do it. Jordan Love runs around and gets sacked for fucking 12-yard loss. Or he gets away and then throws it like shit and then a guy gets injured. Or whatever. Like that seems to be what happened yesterday. Either he gets away from this rush, throws it like shit, guy gets injured, or he got sacked, or whatever. Like that's all what was going on here. But I think the Bears, with a decent coach, are better than the Packers. I think the Vikings with a quarterback are better than the Packers. And the Lions are the Lions. So they're better than the Packers. It's all scary because the thing that's the worst is all those teams, the Bears defense dictates.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
The Vikings defense dictates. The Lions defense, with half their guys at injured reserve, dictated to us. Aaron Glenn was sitting on the sidelines against the Vikings with his leg on his foot up on his knee, just leaning back and with his arm like this. You see that shot of Aaron Glenn doing that in that game, the last game of the year?
Yeah.
I mean, he looked like he was had no care in the world because his defense was kicking the crap out of the Vikings. And now the Lions might lose both their coordinators, and that can definitely change things for them.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Like if they lose both Aaron Glenn and freaking Ben Johnson, like, okay, that's awesome for us. Like then the Lions might have a little problem. But if one of them goes to the Bears, then we might have a bigger problem.
I'm pulling for McCarthy for the Bears.
I don't want that.
Come on.
Hey, I got a question for everybody in the chat, which is nothing to the Packers, but I think there comes a time when a guy just is. There's something I've been watching on HBO. They have Hard Knocks in the season with the AFC North. And I've been watching it. It's awesome. It's a really awesome show. But I think Mike Tomlin, he's run his course with the Steelers.
Yeah.
I mean, and he gets a team to, and I'm not saying like he's not a good coach. I think he is a good coach.
I agree.
But after a while, like, I'm thinking he's kind of said as much as you can say and guys can hear and be like, okay. And also, he hasn't won a playoff game since 2016 or something. Like the Steelers can make the playoffs and they can be 8-9 or 9-8 or they've never had a losing season, like ever. He's never had a losing season in all these years.
Right. It's crazy.
But I can see how, just sometimes, he hasn't won a Super Bowl since, I don't know when that was, 2008 or something, or 9, whatever it was when they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, as their comeback against the Cardinals. Right.
Yeah. So, because it was them and then it was the Saints and then it was us.
2008, yeah.
Yeah. So
yep.
It's been a long time since that dude's won a Super Bowl. And I don't know. I just think Mike McCarthy would be a good Steelers coach because he's from Pittsburgh, and I think that'd be a good fit. And I think they need an offensive coach. I think they need a guy because Mike Tomlin's kind of just like a rah-rah guy. Because I'm watching the show, and he doesn't ever talk about scheme.
Right.
Everything he shows, everything they show him, he's given motivational stuff. He's he's showing different things, and like they'll even show me this last one was interesting. Like it was before the playoff game, and they were showing this thing when he was like, "Yeah, we got to show. I want to see video of our guys making plays, and I want to show it to them so that I want them to visualize them making plays." And it's like, okay, but what's your plan to stop Derrick Henry? Like, what's your plan to stop Lamar Jackson? Like, you could show the guys making plays and make them feel good about themselves, but if you have no plan, you're going to get your ass kicked. And they went out there and got their ass kicked. So I don't know. I'm a little. I think he's a good motivator and all that stuff.
Yep. But
I think he can take. It's kind of like the Brett Favre situation. Like we always said about Brett Favre. I think Brett Favre can go to a team that's supposed to win 4 games and he'll win you 7 or 8, just because of pure will, right? Just crazy, whatever. But then you put Brett Favre on a team that's supposed to win 14 games, and he's probably going to win you 11 because he's going to throw some picks like a dumbass, and you're going to lose games that you should have won. And I think Mike Tomlin might be that Brett Favre coach, where it's like I think he's going to win you more games than you should if you're a bad team, but he might lose you more games than you should if you're a good team. I don't know. It's just a weird thing. I thought. I don't know if anybody else thinks about that. Maybe I'm an idiot.
I think he's a good. I think he's a good in-game coach. Like I think he's pretty good at managing the game overall.
Is he though? Like, what does he do?
So.
He's not the offensive play caller. He's not the defensive.
Oh, but he makes. I mean, in terms of like managing the game, making decisions, the head coach decisions, like all that sort of stuff. I think he does a good job of that stuff, and he is definitely a good motivator and tone setter. Right? He's a guy that creates a culture and tone for his guys. But yeah, you're right. As far as the X's and O's and all that stuff, you don't see a lot from him on that stuff.
See, and the reason why I say it is because
New England, I think.
when you watch the show, you just juxtapose that to John Harbaugh, who's the same guy. He's a special teams coordinator who became a head coach. He doesn't call the defensive plays. He doesn't call the offensive plays.
Right.
But he does talk about scheme, and he does talk about like when he's talking about things, he is talking scheme on the and maybe it's just the clips they're showing. I don't know. And when he's on the sidelines, he doesn't really do a lot either. He's mostly just rah-rah and all this kind of stuff. Like there's one time where Kyle Villanoa goes up to him and he's like, "Oh, hey, that was a good timeout you called there." And he's like, "Yeah, that was a pretty good timeout. I did do something right, huh?" Like I was one of the side in the playoff game. It's kind of funny. He's like, "Yeah, I do something once in a while. I can call a timeout and all this stuff." And then always just laughing at him. And it's funny because it's like, yeah, what is he doing? I don't know. He's just standing there and most of the time because he's not calling the plays or anything. And that's fine. You don't have to call a play to be a head coach. I'm not saying you have to. You have to be a leader and you have to delegate and you have to run the whole system all year long. Right. So that's a big part of being a head coach, which I think Matt LaFleur kind of stinks at. So let's be honest. But I don't know. I think there comes a time when guys are there for like McCarthy. I think, his time was up with the Pack at that point. Also, Rodgers was kicking him out of town. But I don't know. I just thought it was weird. I thought it'd be interesting to see Tomlin go to the Cowboys or something different. Or even go to the Bears, because the Bears need some kind of guy like that.
Sure.
I don't think McCarthy's going to help him, but maybe. I mean, maybe he could turn around Caleb Williams and give him some stuff.
He will. He'll give him the McCarthy beat your one-on-one matchups offense. Would be great.
Well, he's got receivers to win the one-on-one matchups too. So that's the thing.
There you go. It could work.
So maybe it would work with the Bears. I don't know.
Hey, Lee's not getting rid of Tomlin. He says he's been coaching a less than average roster since the playoff. Come on, man.
Yes.
The fact you won all those games with that crappy quarterback play.
I know. Ben Roethlisberger sucked. I know.
Yep. And then all these other guys they've had.
I know. I'm just telling you from watching this show, I have a little more respect for Zach Taylor,
Wilson?
the guy from the Bengals.
Taylor. Yeah. Really?
He's a little better coach than I thought he was. I thought he was just a ding dong on the sidelines, an idiot.
He makes a lot of dumb decisions in game.
In game, he does, yes.
Yeah.
But I like seeing the behind the scenes stuff. He's not too bad. He's a little better than I thought. And then, it's also the Browns on there, and they're just a disaster area. Like it's bad. But I think Kevin Stefanski is pretty good. Like
Right.
Based on, yeah, he's a pretty decent coach based on that thing too. So it's like I would love to see a Matt LaFleur. Like if we could get NFC North next year,
Mm.
I want to see what it's like. What is Matt LaFleur like in the meeting rooms? What
Matt
kind of
LaFleur
leader is he?
not? There's nothing, man. That's why you get what you get. You know LaFleur, like he doesn't have it. He does
I
not
know.
command people's attention. He does not rally people. He does not.
So what do
set
you do
tone.
if your coach doesn't do it and your quarterback doesn't do it?
I don't know. They
Who
need
leads
leaders.
this team?
I don't know.
Because even and people are going to think this is weird, but when we were in college, we were in music, we were in the all male choir and we were in an a cappella group with 6 guys. And even in those situations, there's leaders. There's guys who are leaders within those groups. Like there's 64 guys in a male choir, and there's probably 5 or 6 guys who are the alpha dogs who lead the team and do the thing. And I was one of them. I was the guy who freaking leads the team. And if you don't have that guy, you can't reach your potential. Like everybody's just, because what you do is you bring up the guys around you. And how could you, I don't know. It's just a really weird dynamic. Because even McCarthy, when he was there,
Yeah.
it still had like a toughness about him. And he still had like a, even though he said his one-on-one matchups and crap like that, but he also still brought it back to, well, he's a football, like when he talked about Micah Hyde and, well, he's a football player. I want him out there. Like he was a good, like solid rock, right?
Yep.
He was grumpy and he was kind of weird and maybe not the smartest dude around, but he was a solid rock who you could grab onto and hang on to. And that's the leadership style, right?
Yep. And
LaFleur is kind of all over the place. And he's definitely not a solid rock. He's calling out his young receivers and giving no blame to his quarterback. So I don't know.
Sounds like his old quarterback.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the same talent that Rodgers. Like Rodgers had a lot of talent.
I know.
So I mean, as much as Rodgers was a dick and an ass munch, we can't deny, right? Aaron Rodgers was damn talented. Like,
yeah.
Right.
He was. He's gonna be a Hall of Famer. First.
So yeah, so this game was not a hard game to watch because we expected it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like a gut wrenching loss. Like,
but the defense played better than I thought.
Yeah, they played pretty decent, but.
They did.
I mean, the other thing though is Saquon Barkley could have had a big ass touchdown run at the end, and he's like, "All right, I'll let you guys."
Keyshawn told him he would have caught him on that one.
He wasn't going to catch him.
He had the angle on him.
Because I remember after the game, they're like, "Whoa, you hold Saquon Barkley to 119 yards of rushing or whatever. That's pretty good." And I'm like, he would have had like 60 more if he would, or 50 more yards if he wouldn't have stopped, and that would have been 200 yards rushing.
Yeah,
but he was being nice to us and just wanted to run out the clock.
Yeah.
So, because he didn't want to score and then have the Packers have to take a knee or run out the clock. He just wanted to be like, hey, let's just sit here. We'll just take a knee and run out the clock. So we do it here with our fans.
Sure.
And have some respect for the fact that we kicked the crap out of the Pack.
Well, a lot of changes ahead for the Packers. We'll talk about some of that stuff later. But
yeah, we
got the playoffs. We can just
season.
observe now. We don't have to worry about. We don't have to have a really big vested interest in what's left. And you said it. The first opening playoff weekend was kind of
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, a lot of lopsided games, and then a lot of the teams that we were hoping would win didn't win.
They all lost. Every one of them lost.
Shit. I mean, I'm kind of like Washington is interesting.
Yeah, I don't like them.
Washington's interesting. I guess at this point, I want to see the Lions, Bills, and then one of those teams will win their first Super Bowl. So that would be cool.
Yeah, I don't like the Lions anymore.
Well, who else do you want from the NFC? You don't want?
It doesn't matter. I want the Bills to win, so it doesn't matter who gets there.
All right. Well, fair enough. Whatever. Maybe they'll get Hutchinson back in the Super Bowl, and then Zadarius will not play. That'll be good.
Lee's asking about last year's offense, this year's defense. Last year's offense, this year's defense, Lee, that's a Super Bowl winning team.
Ooh. Look at this.
And what's the difference between last year's offense and this year's offense? There's only one thing different. Everybody else is the same. Aaron Jones. I mean, I hate to be a bearer of bad news, everybody.
John Runyon.
John
Junior.
Runyon and Sean Ryan, they split time last year. They both played last year, so there's not a difference. The only difference is Rhett running back. And this year's offense, yeah, Josh Jacobs had a good year, but the Packers passing game did not.
Yeah, it's true.
And Aaron Jones actually missed a bunch of time last year.
But when he was back, then it was looking good.
When he came back, that was when they went on the run and they were like lights
Yep.
out. Yeah. But then
Yep.
the defense couldn't hold up their end of the bargain.
Yep.
Where this defense, Hafley's defense, probably would have held up. But they also, I mean, this year we had Xavier McKinney. I mean, he's not as good as everybody says he is, but he's still a good player. I'm not saying he's not a good player. He is a good player, but he's not the all-pro superstar everybody keeps saying that he is. But
Yeah.
Evan Williams, Bullard, Cooper, all those guys really, really helped make a team better. Like
Yeah.
those pieces were not there last year, and that's a big, huge difference.
Right? They give you some hope that they could do something different. I like John's comment here. Thanks for the entertainment, bros. Sick of Cheesehead TV and Herman pom-poms.
Now, listen,
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't mind she's on TV and Herman. It's just they have relationships with the Packers now, both
Yeah,
of
that's
those.
true.
So-
That's
and we
true.
don't have any. Like, I'm
they
going to
got-
be honest with you, John. If we had a press pass, we'd be freaking kissing butt just as much as they do.
What? No, we wouldn't.
Hell yeah, we would.
That
God dang
shit.
it, we get a press pass.
No.
Oh yeah, I'll
We-
be kissing butt. You know me, I'm a big kisser.
We'd still
On the
call
butt.
it straight.
Yeah, I know we
We'd,
would.
we'd end up talking to like the disgruntled players because the
Yeah.
other guys wouldn't want to talk to us, but those guys would give us the straight dirt. Then we would.
Yeah.
we'd
As
put
soon
it
as
out
we
there.
got our press pass, they take it away. Unfortunately. I once wrote a song. I wrote a song. You should check out. Hey, anybody has time. So I'm going to plug my band. Which we had a couple albums. Counter Void. One of my songs that I wrote called "Pucker Up." It's all about not kissing people's ass. It's the chorus is, "I won't pucker up." That's all I'm saying.
JJ likes Bukowski. You know what I like better is Chuck Bartowski.
Yeah, Chuck Bartowski.
Watch Chuck instead of Peter Bukowski. He tries, but
I don't
he's-
like Peter
even
Bukowski.
even when he tries to be tough, he's kind of faking it.
I don't like Peter Bukowski. You might like
But-
him, JJ. I don't like him.
He's not that dialed into the Packers. Or
He doesn't
connected to
know
the
what's
true
going on.
Packers. He's just a dude that was around, and they're like, "Why don't you be the
Yeah, he was the
Packer
Bucks guy.
for
It didn't know anything about the Bucks, and then they made him the Packer guy, and then he didn't know anything about the Packer. He's just locked on. They were just like, "Here, let's hire this guy."
Anyway, that's okay. You can like him still, but you should also like us.
But he does
All
get
right.
some interviews with people that are pretty good.
He
Though
does.
I'm
He
actually
does.
surprised by some of his interviews. So I'll watch him every once in a blue moon.
We'll check out and see if we can get some guys in next year.
I don't
Some
know.
more.
I still like Andy Herman. I mean,
They're fine. They're fine.
most of the
I
time, I agree with Andy Herman. It's
I
just
like-
a couple times where he gets.
I
a
was
little,
down with Andy until that last year with Rodgers, where he just kept saying misleading shit that wasn't true, and I had enough.
Paul
was like-
Farrington show.
Paul Farrington.
They're a
Show was
Viking
crazy.
show,
Oh,
and they got a whole bunch of Packer viewers. So now they're like pretty much a Packer show. But even though he's a Viking fan,
Okay.
and I don't. I mean, they're fine. I don't know.
Peter's okay. Is telling us too smarty pants. Oh. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
JJ McQuaid, don't even start it with me about
Durham
crime.
guys up in Rochester. Ooh, yep. Ben had some crime. Naked crime.
Naked crime. Look out.
Look it up. Ben was the guy that tackled the naked man trying to.
I didn't tackle him. I just shoved him. But I hit him away. I hit him harder than Elton Jenkins hit the guy who hit him. I can tell you that. I was like the other guy. I was the guy hitting. Elton Jenkins would have been the naked guy.
You needed Josh Myers to lead with the puke attack. And then he probably would have ran away then
Yeah,
too.
that's true. That's true.
Josh Myers' best blocking move. Puke lead left, puke lead right. Some great plays. We won't see him again because Myers will be gone. He'll probably be signed
he'll be
back.
back.
For 5 years.
He'll
He'll
be
be back
back.
for a 5-year extension.
They'll sign Myers back and let TJ Slayton go. Watch.
Oh, let's hope it's not that dumb.
And then next year we won't be able to stop the run and be like, oh, why can't the Packers stop the run this year? Oh, they got Kenny Clark. He's so good.
Kenny Clark.
Kenny Clark. We got to get Kenny Clark. We got to get Kenny
Some
Clark
help.
somebody else.
Yeah,
We got to get him
some-
some help. We got to get Kenny Clark some help. He's out there all by himself. He's so good. When it really gets TJ Slayton, who's the one that's really
man.
good. But, whatever.
Well, I hope Tucker Kraft can toughen up some of these Packer players because he seems like a tough guy that is pretty serious.
I don't know if Tucker Kraft's that much of a tough guy.
You don't know if he's that tough?
I think he's kind of more talk than tough. I got to be honest.
Let's examine that. You
You
better be careful. He's from a town only like 500 people, man. They defend their people there.
Hey,
Anyone from
That's
whatever Jackrabbit, South Dakota finds out that you said that.
listen,
they're
I'm
gonna
not saying I don't like Tucker Kraft. I'm just saying his press conference on Monday was a little over the top
Okay.
for a second-year tight end who still had seven. He had 7 touchdowns.
He
and a whole
sees
bunch
his
of
team is devoid of leadership. Somebody's
I
got to
know.
lead him.
I
He
know
thinks, well, I guess I got to do it.
some guy with a town of 500 people is going to lead everybody.
Yeah, that's all that's the pack. What, Musgrave is going to lead him? No, none of these guys are going to lead him. The wide receiver, any of these wide receivers step up as leaders? No, there's no leaders.
No,
It's crazy how there's no leaders.
it is crazy. Well, we had one. His name was Aaron Jones,
Damn,
but he'll be a
Man.
free agent. We can sign him back.
Sully was more of a leader than he realized too. But
Sully is the man.
all right, go Bills.
Go
We'll catch
Bills
you-
and Robert.
if,
let's get
John
Rasul
ever
Douglas
comes back,
Super Bowl.
go Bills.
It's
Be
a tough
good,
game.
guys.
This is an awesome game this weekend, man.
It's gonna be hard.
Bills
as
Ravens
shit.
is going to be awesome.
Oh my god, the Ravens are monsters. Holy Jesus.
Ravens are scary, dude.
Yeah.
On offense, anyways.
Well, their defense looked pretty good too in this last game. Like, there's just a lot to
but
deal with.
who were
there.
they playing? Russell Wilson.
Hey, he's better than Rodgers.
No, he ain't.
And he's not. He revived his career. Maybe sort
Nah,
of.
he didn't revive. He didn't revive nothing.
Shoot.
He had George Pickens to throw to. The guy.
He didn't even show up to the game. He's late.
George Pickens was late.
Yeah, he was late to the game. He was a problem, dropping balls the week before.
Well, that's why the Packers didn't draft him. I just wanted the Packers to get him because of talent.
Because he was good. Yeah.
I didn't know he was a freaking Looney Tunes. Crazy guy.
Well, so we got a nice guy who can't catch and gets hurt a lot instead.
Yeah, well, at least George Pickens is on the field most of the time. Did you see his touchdown catch, though?
Yeah.
The one where it was like, there's a safety coming this way in the corner right behind him, and he just kind of reached out and just caught it like, and then brought it in and then split the safety and then ran. It was a great freaking touchdown catch.
Yeah.
Because he ran another 20 yards for a touchdown. It was like a sideline, and he caught it like way out here, like his arms are way out here like this, and then brought it back in, and the safety was going for the ball.
Yep.
So he made sure he didn't get hit by the safety because he just put his arms way out to catch it and then brought it in and then avoided the safety and took off. It was a great catch. I mean, George Pickens has got some talent, dude. He's got some talent. But he is freaking crazy.
Maybe he's the guy that the Packers need. We'll see.
Well, he was a second. He's still got one more year under contract with
Trade
Steelers.
for him. Jair for him.
Okay. Let's trade Matt LaFleur for Mike Tomlin then. I think, like I said, I think Mike Tomlin needs a new place to coach.
And the Packers need a leader, and he would lead them.
He would be a leader. He would know how to lead guys. Like I said, I just think he's run his course in the Steelers, but he could start a new course with the Pack.
Yeah, hey. I'd be down. All right. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. Be good. Stay good. Take care of yourselves. And we'll see what the off season has in store, but enjoy the playoffs without any vested interest. See you guys.
Tell me why, unicorn,